You want to win them all, don't get me wrong. Every time you compete, if you're wired the way you need to be wired, you're there to win. But I'd be lying if I said the big ones don't matter more. The ones that you dream about when you're a little kid. The ones you win 1,000 times in your head before you even get a chance to do it for real. The ones that give you a chance to put your name into the books they'll read about forever. You better believe the big ones matter more, because they are where history is made, and history matters because it lasts. It matters because it's where legends are born and raised. It matters because it's never complete, always giving the very best of every new generation a chance to etch their names into it. That's what inspires them, what drives them, what pushes them to keep working as hard as they can, to give themselves the best shot every time this day comes on the calendar. No matter what your story is, whether this is your first time in front of the world, or even if you've been to the pinnacle before, the meaning is the same for all of them. And don't forget, the crowd knows it too. There's a reason 300,000 people show up every year. It's all part of the wonder of this race, the tradition, the stakes, the history. This is the Indianapolis 500. The race bigger than any of the others. The race harder than any of the others. The race that's remembered more than all of the others put together. The race that can make you a legend and define your life forever.
To you on a personal note, congratulations. Have a great one.
Thanks, guys.
He is the unofficial mayor of this place and this town. That is Tony Kanaan. Let's take you to the Honda track preview and check out Andretti Autosport's Kyle Kirkwood with the Auto Nation on board. But look on the right at the track map, and we've got a new feature hinge.
Yeah, very exciting feature, guys. You're going to see the at-track level wind in each corner, something we've never had before. Normally it's on top of the pagoda, on top of the pylon, but this is going to be the individual wind conditions in each corner at track level. We talk a lot about wind in this race, Townsend, because these cars are so sensitive to it.
And the reason it's important is watching the hands of the drivers. We have 15 on-board cameras. We'll watch their adjustments behind the wheel.
Dylan Welsh, what's the latest?
It's a battery problem for Graham Rahal. They are behind the wall right now, crew taking the side pods off the car. And the other problem, they're trying to locate the pit cart, which gets the car to the grid because that has the spare battery. So they actually fired it. Graham went to take off with the rest of the field. It stalled. They refired it and stalled again. And Graham was telling them, it's the battery. We've got to fix the battery. So not only do they have to fix this behind the wall, then they got to get him back out to pit road, and he can fire from there. So he's already lost a couple laps and likely going to lose more here as they try to get this problem fixed.
They're racing against the clock here before the start of the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. It has been such an emotional roller coaster. Such an eventful week for Graham Rahal, for Dreyer Reinbold Racing, Steph Wilson, everybody involved, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. And we are getting closer and closer to the start. There is just one more parade lap to go before the race begins. Can they get Graham Rahal out in time?
It's the worst feeling possible as a driver. Biggest race, and you're trying to get fixed. What you don't know is wrong. And for Graham, he knows he's got about 45 more seconds, and then it's too late to catch that first lap.
And this doesn't look like a problem that's going to be solved in 45 seconds, Townsend. So the emotional roller coaster for this driver for this month just continues. Heartbreaking to see.
Let's go inside the Chip Ganassi Racing squad to the pole sitter Alex Palou and the last minute pep talk.
All right, boys. Thank you all so much for the amazing job this month of May. It's been an absolute amazing month. Let's finish up by winning the Indy 500.
How about that from Palou? So measured. He's in the moment, and he is ready to go. He's come close. He's been a runner-up in the Indy 500. Can he do it? Look at this field. All bar Graham Rahal, they are perfectly packed up. There are drivers in this field who have never done an Indianapolis 500. There are drivers like Tony Kanaan who are about to begin their 22nd. It doesn't matter where you are on that line. It still means as much. The feeling never goes away. Performing on a stage in front of 300,000+ people. This is and always will racing. This is the Indianapolis 500. And Alex Palou leads very strong into turn 1. Rinus VeeKay and Felix Rosenqvist with Scott Dixon going high.
Side by side with Scott Dixon there. A great move from the veteran. We got 2 wide all the way down through turn 1. As we see turn 2 now, everyone files through clean.
A couple of drivers thought about it, going side by side. I'm looking at Takuma Sato, Tony Kanaan in that orange and black 66 at the back. And Sato trying to push his way through. His Pato Award in that black car is falling back fast.
And ahead of him in that papaya orange McLaren machine is Alexander Rossi all over Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah, it was a great jump there from Rossi. He got around Pato as Pato tried to get on the inside of Ferrucci. Borderline 3 wide, but now it's Felix Rosenqvist under threat from Scott Dixon.
They find their rhythm now.
This is the gamesmanship. This is when you start to figure out if the drivers in front of you or behind you, are they going to ride and conserve a little fuel and use a little patience here, or who's going to push? Right now, look at this. Oh, this is brutal. Graham Rahal back on track, but 2 laps already in the books. He's got a long way, a long, tough road to get back on the lead lap.
And on the other end of that is Will Power, who has made up 3 positions from his grid spot. Look at Rinus VeeKay. Here we go. First pass for the lead, and the young Dutch driver takes it.
Barry Wanzer, the strategist for Alex Palou in that blue and white number 10, told me just a little while ago before the start of the race that they were happy to run second, but they do not want to drop back further than that. They're happy to let VeeKay push the air, create a hole, and let Alex Palou get great fuel mileage.
I was just going to say, if I'm Felix Rosenqvist sitting 3rd in line in that white and orange number 6 machine, this is ideal for me. You can sit in this pocket of air being pushed by the 2 cars in front, save some fuel, but not have to run in so much dirty air that you're using more of your tires.
Rinus VeeKay led a lap last year, but he only lasted until lap 39 before he crashed out of the greatest spectacle in racing. Let's see what he can do this year as he leads, and leads confidently. From Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Scott Dixon, Santino Ferrucci 5th, then Rossi, Award, Sato, Power, and Kanaan is the top 10.
You could see some cars further back the last lap out of turn 4, like Alexander Rossi, sliding way high in the dirty air and almost brushing the outside wall. This is turn 3 right here, and this is what I was talking about. Rossi right here getting too close in the dirty air and sliding up the racetrack.
We're hearing that Will Power had a moment as Alex Palou pulls out of the draft and is going to retake the lead. Power in the big box in the Verizon Chevrolet.
Yeah, watch Power here. He's going to crank it in, and now the front end's going to just take off on him as he slides up into the gray. Good long shot here in the replay as those guys are working that last bit of groove available before contact.
And look, at this stage of the stint, everybody's tires are good. Everyone's car is going to feel much better than it's going to 15 laps from now, Tennyson. As we get towards that last 10 laps of a stint, that's when you're really going to see which cars are dialed in and which drivers are taking care of their tires better.
And all the while, Diff, whatever you're feeling right now is going to change. It is 102 track temperature, but it's only 12:50 in the afternoon. In about another hour, that track temp could climb another 15 to 20 degrees.
We're by 8.
31-year-old Swedish driver, Felix Rosenqvist, the NTT data on board.
Look how he's lifting off the throttle, basically at halfway down the back straight. This is a very smart drive right now early on from Felix Rosenqvist, just trying to stay in this pocket, conserve the fuel by lifting off the throttle. That's going to pay dividends later in this stint when he can run longer.
Let's get an update on Graham Rahal in the Dreyer Reinbold Chevy. Dylan?
It was indeed a dead battery on the Graham Rahal car. You see him back out on the racetrack. Great work by the crew. Of course, didn't lose any laps behind the wall, but they did lose a couple laps. But that's it, just 2, and it's early, so they've got time, and they're confident they can still make this time up, Dave.
Will Power is up 3 positions from his starting spot of 12th. Qualifying, he told me last year was their problem until the second half of the year. This year, it's been about the same thing. Other than that, he feels very confident about his consistency, trying to get his way to the front of the Indy 500 and win again, Marty.
Dave, a planned move move early on for Alex Palou to give the lead to Rinus VeeKay, and then another planned move by Rinus VeeKay to give the lead back to Alex Palou. I asked VeeKay about that earlier this week, and he said, I was watching film of 2021, yelling at myself, saying, why are you leading? Let someone else lead. Townsend, help me out here. Why do drivers not want to lead at the Indy 500?
Drivers want to lead. Engineers don't want their drivers to lead, and that's for exactly the reason James just described. If you're following like Rinus VeeKay here, you are saving fuel. As the spotter reminds him, Rinus VeeKay, just ride right now. That has two benefits. It extends the length of this stint, so you get deeper into the race before pitting, or if a yellow flag comes out, you don't need to take as much fuel to top up, and your pit stop can be faster. Look at VeeKay. I mean, he's almost completely out of the gas on the front straightaway.
Dealing with the reroll. That's the way to next stop.
What this becomes is a game of chicken, because the driver out front at some point needs to fall back, and they'll start lifting so far on the straightaway you can't help but go by if you're Rinus VeeKay.
And you know who this really helps is Graham Rahal, who's just trying to catch the tail end of the lead pack and get into the draft. He's about half a lap back right now, all on his own, but the slower the leaders go, the more it helps Graham get back in this race.
It does help him, but still, I know it's a long race. I know 200 laps, a lot can happen, but to try to claw back 2 laps, man, it's a big ask. It's a very, very long day when you're driving around at the back like that. Look at these drivers. They're so close, but nobody wants to make the move.
Except for Graham Rahal, it has been a good, clean start to the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. Pole man Alex put 16 Honda-powered cars in this 33-car field here at Indy. Pass for the lead while we're away, and it is the Bitnile Chevrolet of Rinus VeeKay. Tag teaming there with Alex Palou. Palou's led 8 laps, and young Rinus of the Netherlands has now led 6.
What I love about that onboard shot, guys, is you saw as soon as he pulled out of the draft and got into that clean air, Rinus VeeKay was working the tools in the car to affect the balance. It's going to change when you're going to clean air from dirty air.
What I love about that clip is the gentleman-like behavior that exists at the start of this race, and it starts to deteriorate with every lap. We're only at 15 of 200. What you just witnessed there is nothing like what you see at half distance. I remember you and I, you know, after you, no after you, no after you, and then you get to half distance. Well, it's screw you. I'm going to the front.
And here he goes again, Alex Palou on the inside of Rinus VeeKay, that bitnile.com on board, giving us some great shots. And this is that dance. It's that orchestrated back and forth. These drivers, they want to be up front. They're going to have to work together and share the load of pushing the hole in the air.
Hey, I know you two love music. Remember that song by the Proclaimers, I'd walk 500 miles and I will walk 500 miles? Well, this young guy, Rinus VeeKay's got quite the sense of humor. This is his Indy 500 special helmet with the Proclaimers on there. Rinus, you don't have to walk it. You're doing a great job. By the way, bottom left of that picture is his father, Marine, who had a major health scare recently. He is lucky to be here in Indianapolis. His wife and his daughter are here as well. So the full VeeKay or Van Kalmthout family of the Netherlands are here. Awesome news.
You guys notice how Scott Dixon in that orange and blue PNC car is further back than the top 3? So clever. I think Dixon knows that he hangs right here, gets the mileage he needs, but doesn't press too close to Felix Rosenqvist. By doing that, he keeps clean air on his race car. He's got less turbulence. He can protect his tires. And then if Rosenqvist or VeeKay or Palou start to struggle, then he can pounce. I love the intelligence. I love seeing 20-plus years of IndyCar knowledge play out early in this race.
Yeah, you don't become a 6-time champion without knowing what you're doing as you ride on board. The Honda on board here with Scott Dixon. He's catching it, though. That does not look like the happiest race car, Townsend.
You see his right hand go down for the, oh goodness, bar, that front anti-roll bar. He pushes it forward. It stiffens the roll rate of the front axle, and hopefully you see his hands calm down as a result.
Need to tell you about the biggest movers in the pack. Scott Dixon is nice and stable. He got off to a great start. He caught up 2 positions, but 2 positions even better than that is Will Power. He's made up 4 from his grid spot of 12th. He now runs 8th in the Verizon Chevrolet. And there you see the biggest movers along with Will Power, Colton Herter and Callum Ilott making up 3 positions respectively. In the Peacock pre-race show, I spoke to Will Power, and we know and we've documented over the years how intense he is. He is the ultimate competitor. Big move here. Santino Ferrucci for AJ Foyt Racing. Inside Scott Dixon.
Fantastic, and I'm starting to backtrack what I just said. Dixon looks to be struggling with a loose handling race car. I thought it was strategic, but it's in reaction to as Dixon's about to lose another spot to Alexander Rossi.
It's amazing how quickly it happens, guys, as Alexander pulls out to the inside there in that orange McLaren. And it's amazing how quickly your momentum can go. It can disappear when the handling starts to go. When one car gets by you, you have to get out of the throttle. You lose your rhythm. You lose that momentum. And look, he's about to lose his third spot in only a lap and a half.
And it's another Arrow McLaren car to make that move. First was Alexander Rossi, now Pato O'Ward. Here's Kevin Lee with an update on Santino Ferrucci.
He's never started better than 15th, and he's gained 53 spots in his 4 previous 500s as AJ Foyt watches on, up to 4th after he fell back a spot. Remember, Santino Ferrucci, 3 races, 3 different teams last year. He said he was fighting for his driving life. Now he's comfortable, and the race car, after some troubles on Carb Day, they got it addressed. He feels like he can win this race.
The most patriotic livery in the field, the Stars and Stripes, the Homes for Troops. AJ Foyt Racing Machine. Ferrucci up to 4th. NBC's coverage of the Indy 500 brought to you by Firestone Tires for redefining the limits. Renewable race fuel, powering progress at 230 miles per hour. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. Let's get an update on Scott Dixon. What's happening, Marty Snyder?
We have seen him go from 5th to 14th. He has a left side tire vibration, something teams have been dealing with all weekend long. You can see it here on the onboard camera. You can also hear it in his voice when he talks to the radio, on the radio to the team. He has asked several times, can we come in? Can we come in? Mike Hola's strategist so far, as he loses another spot, has told him to stay out. But Dixon now coming to pit road. He said a moment ago, I just can't stand it any longer. These vibrations are so tough, and that left rear wing makes the car extremely loose. So Scott Dixon will pit earlier than he had planned in the initial phases of the race.
Here, especially if you're the 3rd car in the line or the 4th, you're gonna need a better car in traffic because you know you're gonna have to pass the next two, where VK and Palou, they can just work together, you know, because they need a strong car at the front.
Talking of these two, did you hear VK? Palou is backing into him, and VK's not playing game here.
VK's just sitting back. He could have overtaken him very easily then. Yeah, I mean, it's just a little cat and mouse game. But if these two are smart and they work together, they can actually make a little break. So, you know, I think it's really going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
And that's Catherine Legg in the pit lane. But Ferrucci's just dropped a place to Felix Rosenquist. You've got Graham Rahal in the train there. And look, there is Ferrucci dropping another spot. It's Rossi, it's the McLarens that are on the move. They've dropped the AJ Foyt machine of Ferrucci down to 5th.
Not all races can be won. Fast X in theaters now. Buy tickets with Fandango. Who's going to win this race? Well, the pit stop differential powered by NTT is going to give us an interesting window into that.
Indeed, look at the advantage to Palou in all 3 phases. The in lap, the last lap before he hits pit lane, the time on pit lane, start to finish, and then the lap after the pit stop. Advantage Palou in all 3 phases for a total of a little less than a second. 7/10, almost 8/10 of a second advantage. But no big deal. As long as you get back into the draft, if you're Rinus VeeKay, nothing to worry about.
So there are more than 300,000 people here who are watching with a great deal of interest. And maybe watching with the most interest is somebody who will be in this race next year. Right, Marty?
Yeah, I found a 2024 Indy 500 driver, Kyle Larson. So you wanted to stay and get an experience of what it was like. You told Dale Jr. and Steve earlier. What's it been like?
It's been cool. Just kind of listening to them discuss fuel, mapping, and strategy, and also looking at this balance and stuff to, recommend changes. So it's the stuff that I don't ever get to listen to when you're behind the wheel. So kind of cool to get the other side of it and help prepare me to know what they're really able to look at. So everything seems to be going smooth so far. So we'll see what the rest of the race holds for them.
How was that pre-race scene for you?
Oh, it's unreal. I mean, the Indy 500 is just amazing. I mean, it's the biggest race in the world, biggest sporting event in the world. So cool to be a part of it as a fan this year, and look forward to having my family here next year and get to compete and just have a whole different feel to it.
You got a little taste today, Dave, 50 laps or so, and he's got a little race to run tonight, too, in the Cup Series in Charlotte.
We'll be interested to see if that goes and see what Kyle does. Here on the track, Will Power, we mentioned going forward. He has a little bit of understeer in the car on that first stint, a little bit of a vibration, but there's a bigger problem. Check this out.
Jacker's not working. Positive, it is not working.
All right, so that weight jacker, as you explained earlier, James, is moving weight on the front tires, either on the left front to get the car to turn more, or the right front to help get the car, frankly, to turn less effectively. The question is, when did it break? Where did the weight jacker set down and stop working? That'll affect what adjustments Will Power needs to make with the roll bars and what he does with his hands as he carves the car into the corner.
Yeah, you watch this Firestone telemetry, you see the big lift there, you hear it. But man, that is such an important tuning tool. We talk about how much these cars change over a stint, how much they change with weather. The weight jacker is such an important tool, and without it, Will Power is at a huge disadvantage right now.
So while things might not be going ideal for Will Power, how about his Team Penske teammate in the Shell Chevy? Joseph Newgarden is the man on the move. He has made up 8 positions from his starting spot. The 2-time series champion, this one has eluded him. And you better believe that it is a big thorn in his side. Newgarden wants to be an Indianapolis 500 winner. He's come close. He's finished 3rd in 2016. But this one just always seems to, get out of his reach. Maybe today's the day based on this start.
I think he's got such a great shot, James, because of the way that Team Penske is able to take care of their tires. What you're seeing here is excellent on the pit stop exchange with Team Penske going forward, and nice, consistent care for their Firestones.
When you get hired by Roger Penske, there are 2 expectations: win championships, win Indy 500s. Joseph Newgarden took a championship his first year. He backed that up with his second one, but it's the 500 that is still yet to be the unchecked box on his resume, but he is looking really, really strong at this phase of the race, guys.
Graham Rahal, who is 2 laps down, is buried in the middle of this front pack in the 24 Dreyer Reinbold Carekeeper's car. He's a few positions up the road from the car we're looking at. It's the 5th car in shot, the blue and white car, and Graham's doing his best. Here's an exchange for the lead again. Alex Palou in the American Legion Honda ducks ahead of this man here in the BitNile.com Chevy. That's Rinus VeeKay. VeeKay has led 21 laps. Palou has led 23.
All the while, Felix Rosenqvist quietly, patiently grinning in 3rd position. He's letting these 2 go at it and just riding around. Got excellent mileage on the first stint, going 34 laps before his first stop.
And it's not just the mileage, guys. All the McLarens were able to make their tires last that long as well. There's like 3 camps of cars right now. There's the Scott Dixons, the Helio Castroneves that had to pit so early because the tires were falling off. Then we had everybody that sort of made it
job here, brother. Just about halfway on this set.
To lap 30-ish, which was the goal. Then that group of cars that made it to 33, 34, they've got an advantage right now as we take a look at this live wind reading, Townsend.
Yeah, this is really cool. It helps you understand what the drivers are dealing with as you turn 360 degrees around this racetrack, 90 in each corner. It's like following the compass. We're going due north right now on board with Rosenqvist. He's going to turn west, and as he does so, he'll pick up a tailwind at the exit, and then turning into 4, he's going to get some wind on the beam on the right-hand side, the starboard side, if you will, of the boat, and that'll adjust how you, with technique, adjust your hands, the rate at which you turn the car, and the adjustments in the cockpit.
You heard Billy Vincent, the strategist for Felix Rosenqvist, on the radio saying, nice job, we're about halfway through this run.
Front 3 looking very good. So is the Arrow McLaren of Alexander Rossi. He started 7th. He's up to 4th. And I like the look of Joseph Newgarden as well. He's on the move into the top 10. Started 17th. So he's the big mover and shaker after the first pit stop sequence. And his teammate, Simona Will Power, talking about the roll bar issues that now he can't change. We were talking off air about how important those tools are.
Yeah, so I think the weight jacker is not working, and with these cars you really need to be on top. These tools are so important because during your stint it's the only thing you can really change, and especially if you're in traffic or in the lead, you have completely different settings, and that's going to be a huge problem. You know, if he, at the moment, he knows where he's at because he's been working in traffic, but if he ends up being more up front, not having the weight jacker, this is going to be a pretty big handicap, actually.
Yeah, the weight jacker is controlled on the wheel, and then down by their right leg they have the front roll bar. It's normally the front roll bar, and down on the left leg it's the rear roll bar. And you'll hear the spotter saying, remember to work your tools, remember the tools, Mark. Just talk us through in layman's term, what are those tools? What do they do, the roll bars?
I mean, it's just about torsional stiffness, but the weight jacker actually is crossing weight and distributing weight across all the axles. And it's very important as the fuel burns off. So as the car gets lighter, the balance of the car will change, and then we'll just adjust the cross weight to get the car in balance, basically, and keep it in tune. Same as tyre wear. It's a really important tool, and to hear that Will Power doesn't have use of it, it could really hinder his actual race outcome. So I'm interested to see how he's going to get on without that. They might do a little bit of tweaking with front wings. Sometimes they do that as well if they've got a little bit of understeer coming in, or it's a bit too loose as well and they've got to balance the car out. This is where all the experience comes in. But these guys at the front here, they are working together, and I think this is going to pay dividends for them as long as there's no yellow.
Yeah, thanks for everyone tweeting in. You can get in touch at Tom Gaymore, at Mark Blundell F1, at Sim Phil Silvestro, but use the hashtag SkyIndyCar. Any questions that you may have, please do drop us a note with where you're watching from as well. Right, lap 53 of 200. We think we'll be looking at the second set of pit stops around lap 60, 65, and that will then cement the front runners into a 5-stopper. But that could all change depending on where the cautions fall. For the likes of Scott Dixon, for example, he may look to elect to stay out if there was a caution before then pitting to get that track position because he's dropped down the order.
Service members and their families join the conversation at hashtag Chevy Salutes. Back at the Indianapolis 500, 53 of the 200 laps, so over a quarter of the race completed. Mike Tirico, Danica Patrick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. atop the Peacock Pick Box, lead mostly with Palou and VK so far. What is your headline so far?
Obviously, tires are a big deal. They were having a problem in practice and throughout the month. I actually saw my race strategist, who I won in Japan with, Kyle Moyer, on pit road before the race, and that's exactly what we talked about. And he said left rears can be a real issue. We even saw here Palou on Fast Friday, his left front. So I think tires are going to play a really big role today.
I'm really impressed by VK and Ferrucci both, because they were, I know I'm a driver, I'm not supposed to care about final practice speeds, but when I see myself at the bottom of the board or on the wrong side of the board, I'm nervous. Both those guys were 33rd and 31st in practice. VK has a great race going on right now. Ferrucci, they were not happy with their car on Friday. Made a lot of changes, and now he's hanging around the top 10.
Tino Ferrucci in fifth, Alex Palou leads. James Woods in the next window of pit stops. We'll step out for a second, come right back as we remain under green, lap 55 of the 500.
Very much the calm before the storm here at Indianapolis, and you can see the plot thickening as the front three working incredibly well together. And it's three different teams, Simona. Three different, you know, it's not like they planned this beforehand.
No, but I think they know. You know, I think with the experience of those teams, you know you need to work with some other cars. You know, you cannot just be the lead car, and I think they're doing a really good job in that. For sure, you know, now at the moment, you know, it's lap 57, you're just kind of buying your time a little bit. You know, you want to be there on the last stop, and it's quite interesting to see because Felix hasn't been involved in the changing position at the front. He's just let really Rinus and Palou really do that job for him, and he's just hanging out. But they have a bit of a break to Ferrucci actually.
Huge fuel save there on board with Felix Rosenqvist. He is very much biding his time. Joshua Beeden says on Twitter, what's the percentage of a chance of there being a yellow flag in the Indy 500 as we see Catherine Legg out of her car? Well, the longest green flag runs at the start, 2018, lap 47, 17, lap 53, 16, lap 47, 2014, lap 150, but it's been relatively clean so far, Mark.
So far, very clean. I mean, the next thing that's going to be a little bit of a struggle for the leaders is when they come into traffic. And then that's going to play out for some, and it's going to be a disadvantage for others. If you just catch it wrong, you can lose a huge amount of time on these ovals. So, you know, again, listening to the lifting, I mean, it's an incredible lift that they're having. Rosenqvist especially there, just saving fuel, but again, keeping himself in contention. He's just sitting back, watching what the two guys at the front are doing in front of him. And I think, you know, that's going to reap benefits come the end of this race.
Danny Kane has said, do they run two different tyre compounds at the Indy 500 like they do at other rounds? No, on the ovals, they run one compound. As we have a look at the snake pit, if you find yourself in the snake pit, take care. It's there's very much a party that's going on there. There's a race going on the oval, though, and we're heading back to our NBC team, lap 60.
NBC's coverage of the Indy 500 is brought to you by Hy-Vee. This racing season helped reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. United Rentals, official equipment rental services partner of IndyCar and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. And by Shell Renewable Race Fuel, powering progress at 230 miles an hour. So we've seen the opening round of stops. We're more than a quarter of the way through this 107th Indianapolis 500. Let's take a look at the pit stop, the second pit stop window prediction, powered by NTT.
There you see it, Palou in that 61 to 67 range, VK 63 to 69. A lot of this is predicated by what they did on their first stint. VK went farther than Palou. Rosenqvist went farther than VK by one lap. So in a few laps here, right around, I think, lap 66 is when we'll see these guys start to set up for their pit stops.
The other thing you got to remember is you look at laps led, Palou's at 36, the VK's 21, so the tennis spent that much more time out front, burning that much more fuel, so it makes sense that he's going to have to pit sooner.
This has been a Chevrolet-dominated race. There's only 3 Hondas in the top 10. Here comes race leader Alex Palou. Second stop in the American Legion Honda.
That is earlier than I expected. If this was to run green the whole time, Marty, it would be tough to do it on just 5 stops.
And you see Santino Ferrucci pitting right behind him, and this is exactly what we talked about. Townsend, you and Hinch just mentioned it. It stacks on itself all day long. In fact, Barry Wanzer told Palou on the radio in the middle of the run, we're just going to be in this situation where we're going to have to pit earlier than everybody else. Handling very good, but Kevin, that's the penalty for leading.
Early on in this last end, Santino Ferrucci said, what did you do? Did you go the wrong way on the wing? They said, no, we just didn't add enough. Later on, Ferrucci came back and said, it gets so loose at the end, I think we just have to suffer through it, Marty.
Second round of pit stop starting here. So Scott Dixon radioed to his crew. You see him on pit road, said this set much better. No vibration this time. He said, I have no idea what happened with that first set, but playing from behind for the rest of the day.
Tell you what, that's not a bad thing for Scott Dixon to get back on cycle.
Yes.
He's there pitting on the same lap as Alex Palou and Santino Ferrucci.
And a huge sigh of relief if you're Scott Dixon that this is not a systemic issue to the car that's going to manifest itself over and over again. Dixon still in this thing, absolutely.
Honda on board. Meanwhile, back at the front, 3 Chevrolet-powered cars. Rinus VK, Felix Rosenqvist, Pato O'Ward. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Alexander Rossi O'Ward's teammate has dropped back. That's that gap you see back to the Papaya, the orange car, and then Will Power, Marcus Ericsson, Joseph Newgarden. Takuma Sato and Tony Kanaan in his 22nd and final Indy 500. TK is running inside the top 10 in 9th.
Yeah, it seems like the number 7 of Alexander Rossi just struggling a bit with the balance. He lost a place to Ferrucci and then another one to his teammate Pato O'Ward right before this sequence started as we ride on board the mission onboards here. Right now, I'm just trying to watch the steering wheel, Townsend. It doesn't look like it's doing anything super terrifying, but obviously he's not very happy as Rinus VeeKay, the leader, dives into pit lane.
Got to be so careful, Marty. Get down to that 60-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit. Don't get caught speeding. Don't lose it. Don't lock up. Good one from VeeKay so far.
You got to follow up on the Rossi situation that Hinch was on board with a moment ago. Just way too free. No vibration for Alexander Rossi, but there is one for Rinus VeeKay, and you can tell he's a young driver. He hung on to it the entire time and never once said, we need to come to pit road. Very happy with the handling, leading a lot of laps, trying to play the patient game all day long. Takuma Sato also on pit road as well. Sato's been dealing with a free race car as the sun starts to be a little more prevalent at Indianapolis. That certainly will affect the handling of the cars as well.
You bet, Marty. Track temp now up to 107 degrees, and if the sun has popped like it looks it has down there, certainly in turn 1, that track temp is going to skyrocket quickly, but all smooth for Rinus VeeKay as he pits and rejoins, and look at that, ahead of Alex Palou in that blue and white number 10, and that's a dicey late move.
On the inside of Marco Andretti in the cooler Honda, and coming up fast is Santino Ferrucci. He clears Andretti as well, waiting on Rosenqvist, O'Ward, Rossi, Power and company to make their second round stop.
I'll tell you what, Santino Ferrucci is absolutely in it to win it as Felix Rosenqvist pulls off and goes to pit lane, and once again Rosenqvist has stretched his pit stops farther than anybody, Marty, at the front.
Yeah, and there's a penalty to that, right, Townsend? Yes, it's great to run far, but you also put a lot of wear on those Firestone. Felix Rosenqvist, after that first stop, the left rear completely blistered all the way around, so they told him to sort of take it easy on this run and not push it quite as hard. You see his teammate Alexander Rossi, again, with a very free race car for Rossi. That's what he's been dealing with. We will look at the tires that come off of Rosenqvist, who came to pit road with the lead. We'll see where he goes, Diff.
What a day, Marty. What a day for the Swedish driver. He has been so consistent, so steady. He's had good speed. Actually, I spoke to him yesterday. It's been a good month of May for Felix Rosenqvist. He is feeling it.
You know, I hadn't seen much in terms of mileage out of Chip Ganassi Racing with Palou and Dixon, but Marcus Ericsson just came to the pits. He's getting excellent mileage.
But guys, look, Felix Rosenqvist has come out ahead of both Rinus VeeKay and Alex Palou. That overcut is really helping, going longer as the other two are stuck in traffic now as we've caught up the tail end, Kevin.
The McLarens are getting great fuel mileage with Chevy. Pato O'Ward in and out. A COP change. A little bit of balance adjustment, Marty.
TK, Tony Kanaan on pit road, his final Indy 500 as we talked about, and these drivers going a little bit further. You guys included Marcus Ericsson in that conversation. His strategist, the winning strategist from last year, said we're going to flip what we're doing, going a little bit longer than everyone else, Dave.
Marty, you're on board with Will Power on pit road now, and even without all the tools available to him, weight jacker not working, he's been able to run well this stint, basically maintained his position. 4 fresh Firestone tires fuel the car. Nice job for the Penske crew.
Out goes the Verizon Chevy, back into it. Meanwhile, at the front, Felix Rosenqvist knows that he's got Rinus VeeKay and Alex Palou coming, and coming fast. And Power knows that he's going to have to get up to speed here quick. Look at Pato O'Ward on the inside, slices up on Rinus VeeKay, tucks in behind his teammate.
A forceful move, but I like the patience out of VeeKay. Still early in this race. VeeKay's right at the front with a fast race car. He's not going to risk it going into turn 1. R.C. Enerson holding up the pack a little bit here. Have to see how Rosenqvist plays this. How urgent does he feel like he needs to lap R.C. Enerson?
And that's just it. R.C. in that red and white car out front here, a lap down. But Felix Rosenqvist, he can't wait too long. He wants to get around there and clear up this lap traffic.
We have a retirement in the field, unfortunately. It is Catherine Legg of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Dylan?
Yeah, and we saw the incident on pit road, Catherine. What did you feel there behind the wheel?
Yeah, there's something just, we don't know whether it's a toe link. We tried changing that, maybe the steering rack or something. So we're going to try try and fix it and get back out. There's not much we can do multiple laps down, but it's good experience, and I'm hoping the best from my Rahal Letterman-Lanigan teammates.
All right, unfortunate end to her return to the Indianapolis 500, Deb.
Well, good to hear Catherine say it may not be over, but an unfortunate beginning to her return to Indy after a 10-year break. Great to have her in the field anyway. You may have noticed that lead change. Pato O'Ward is up front.
It's an Arrow McLaren at the front, and it's the Mexican Pato O'Ward. He's been coming like a freight train after those second set of stops, passing VK and Rosenqvist, making easy work. Now I think of R.C. Eneson as well down the back straight, or electing not to. Look at that. He's pretty comfortable just sitting in there behind that machine, that Able Motorsports machine. Now Simona Palou has changed strategies, dropped back a little bit. Is that to save fuel? Because he had to stop quite a lot earlier than the Chevrolets last time around.
Yeah, maybe, but you know, I think actually that back marker right now with R.C. Eneson is playing in the hands of Pato, because he can save fuel behind it. And I think, you know, if you look at Rosenqvist, he was the one who could extend the most, who could run the most longer laps. And yeah, but I don't know. You know, it's difficult to say, but definitely I don't think you want to be leading, because if that was the case, you know, Pato would have passed Eneson already since a few laps.
Now the front sort of five have stayed the same, but look down in 7th and 8th, Mark. It's the two Penske's. Power started 12th, he's now 7th. Newgarden started 17th, he's now 8th. Those Penske's were confident they had a good race car, and they're looking very good after the second set.
Yeah, they do. They look strong. And again, it's that experience coming through from team and drivers. But, you know, you're going to see this throughout this distance of this race, 500 miles. There's going to be cars and drivers and teams that get that combination right with the performance in that stint, and they're going to start to make inroads, or they're going to drop back. And that's the beauty of it. It's just about having that consistency across 200 laps. You know, for me at the moment, Rosenqvist is the guy just to keep your eye on, because he's extended his stints 2 or 3 laps more than anybody else. And at the same time, Palou with a Honda just worries me that maybe they're just a little bit too inefficient with the fuel.
Do you know what? Over the last few years, with the boost up, it's all been about Honda in qualifying. This year, Chevrolet took those spoils, I think, although we saw Honda on pole position. In the street and road courses this year, it's been Honda that may have the better mileage. But here at Indianapolis today, I know the toe plays a big part in where you're sitting in the train, but it looks like Chevrolet have come to the party. They've done their homework, and they're getting really good fuel numbers. O'Ward it is who leads from Rosenqvist VK as we head back stateside.
A reminder that now is your chance to drive away with a new Corvette, courtesy of Hy-Vee and Gatorade. All season long, enter for a chance to win one of 4 Corvettes, and it's as simple as this. Grab your mobile device, scan the QR code that you see on your screen, and you will be in with a chance to win. Good luck. Welcome back. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe with you. You're watching NBC's Indy 500 telecast presented by Firestone, and you ride on board the Hy-Vee Honda with Christian Lundgaard back up front. This is Pato O'Ward of Arrow McLaren, his teammate Felix Rosenqvist right behind that iconic livery aboard the 6 of Rosenqvist. It's emblematic of Alain Prost's win at Monaco in 1984. It's part of the celebration, the 60th celebration of McLaren racing. 60th birthday, I should say, pardon me. And all cars have different liveries. It's very cool, and it's all reflective of one important point. Just a few points in their amazing history.
I'll tell you what's very cool is to have the front of this field on lockdown. If you're Arrow McLaren right now, with O'Ward and Rosenqvist, these two have been teammates now for several seasons. They can work together. The spotters can communicate to the drivers and say, all right, Rosenqvist's going to pass you on the next lap. It's just like the Peloton. Think team cycling in the Tour de France as Santino Ferrucci goes past Palou. What a move.
Power move from Santino. Strong swing to the outside. Cuts across the bow of the 10. Nothing really Palou could do there. We've heard maybe struggling a little bit with the balance of his car, but look at the gap already that Ferrucci's pulled out, and now Alexander Rossi in that orange McLaren all over the back of Alex Palou.
Such an incredible record here at Indianapolis for Santino Ferrucci. 4 previous starts, 4 top 10s, running 4th, the position he started. You have every reason to think at this point that this young American star could make the miracle happen for AJ Foyt Racing today.
He has not changed his stance or his message all month long. He's like, this is an awesome car. And especially after qualifying, he said, we have a car that could win this race. The 24-year-old from Connecticut, who now, and appropriately that he's driving for AJ Foyt, calls Texas home, is running beautifully.
And I say miracle because, Kevin, we haven't seen the kind of performance out of AJ Foyt Racing that they're showing today. The raw speed of their car exceeded that of the great team Penske in qualifying. And Ferrucci has been just bubbling with enthusiasm ever since he jumped in this thing.
And what's kind of scary is Ferrucci, who qualified fourth, said, my race car is even better. Let's go up front now with the two Aero McLarens and listen to some radio to Pato O'Ward about how he's in front.
Just to give you a heads up, you are leading. Pro is second. You guys are the best on fuel right now, looking really strong.
And now, guys, they're in a position to swap, and I suspected this was coming. They'll swap the lead back and forth just a little bit to save some fuel.
I was just going to say, Kev, I'm surprised that we hadn't seen that sooner. Last year, we saw that beautiful choreography between Scott Dixon and Alex Palou and the Chip Ganassi squad, each taking turns leading so they could both save some fuel. Pato O'Ward had just been sat there out front punching that hole, so now some synchronized swapping of positions, and that's the kind of teamwork you need to see now, 80 laps into the race. That's not what we're going to be seeing with 20 laps to go.
What's happened here? Elio Castro Neves, the four-time winner.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Auditioning for a future in dirt track racing. Castro Neves walks it up the track on board. Listen. He got in the dirty air of his teammate and then downshifted, got after the throttle, and frankly just spun the tires up on the gas. Dylan, that was a great save.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they had moved to 12th in that round of pit stops from 19th when they came in, so the crew did a great job to get in track position, but as you'd expect, Elio came on the radio a few laps ago and said, this is just super loose. I cannot hang on much longer. Made a change, came down and made a front wing adjustment. Hopefully that cures the looseness for Elio, but they've lost a lot of track position.
So, Dylan, meanwhile, the plan for the McLaren cars is to swap the lead back and forth every 3 laps, but I want to show you the left rear of Felix Rosenqvist's car. Look at those blisters. That's the second straight set of tires that have looked like that for Felix Rosenqvist. So, Townsend, I get what you're saying, and I understand it's great to run long, but they're telling Felix, slow down as much as you can to conserve the tires.
Yeah, if I'm Rosenqvist, I think I'd be thinking to myself, 10-4, dude, but we're fine. I went 34 laps on the first stint and another 33 on the second. As you see the Firestone telemetry on board here, what does that throttle look like? Wide open. So don't sweat it, boys. We're good. I'll tell you if I feel something, but tires are fine.
And what a beautiful way to repay the faith that McLaren Racing has had in Felix Rosenqvist to be at the front of the field with his teammate, kind of like his little brother, Pato O'Ward. There's 7 years between the two of them. Felix Rosenqvist is 31, O'Ward 24. O'Ward is the bigger, more vivacious personality. Felix is a little more reserved, and here comes Santino Ferrucci around the outside and moves into third.
Santino Ferrucci, win it or bin it, I think we were saying off air, because he's on full send, and there you've got the Aero McLarens biding their time. They're about to be met by Santino Ferrucci, who's looking very racy indeed in third place.
He's a man on a mission. I mean, you can just see him inside the cockpit there, putting it everywhere on the circuit, and that's the main thing at the moment. He has a car underneath him where he can position it, he can go high or low, he can do whatever he wants, so he's oozing with confidence, and it shows in his performance now. But yeah, this is really going to be interesting, and for AJ Foyt, I mean, he's 88 years old. I mean, there must be some stress on him at the moment.
Yeah, it's lovely to see him at the Speedway, and Santino Ferrucci very much putting a show on. He might be described as a menace when he gets up to the back of those two Aero McLarens, because actually in this stint so far, Pato O'Ward, Felix Rosenqvist have had it all their own way. That might not be the case now.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, they're teammates, so they are going to play nice, but they know that Ferrucci, you know, I think everyone in the paddock knows that he's, you know, really going to go for it. And I think that's going to be really interesting. But Pato, you know, he was biding his time a little bit, and now, you know, when he needed to go up front, he's up front. So we'll see how they're going to play with each other, but definitely the tire blistering has been the biggest issue. So it looks like the fuel is not really a problem at the moment. So who's going to be, you know, behind another car, you're going to use up your tires a little bit more. So if they really start playing more together, that's going to be better for the tires as well. And maybe Ferrucci is going to be the one leading a bit more behind that.
Oh, it's RC Enerson. So the Able Motorsports machine and the rookie who did so well to qualify and make the field, his first Indy 500 start. And that could be our second retirement, although Catherine Legg is trying to get back out in her Rahal machine. Going back to Felix Rosenqvist, we saw the tyres that had come off his car. Now, we were raving about the fuel mileage that the Chevrolet has. The tyres weren't loving that fuel mileage.
Well, I tell you, if I'm an engineer down pit road at the moment in Indianapolis, I'm going to be looking at those tyres and concerning myself. And I think that's going to be the rub for everybody down there at the moment. Yeah, we're only, what, 85, 86 laps into the race. And when you see some tyres come off a race car like that, that's a big alert. You know, that's something that you've really got to keep an eye on. The moment you're going to get vibration in the car, like we saw with Scott Dixon earlier on, you're in trouble. It's very difficult to carry a car with that kind of vibration. So, yeah, big issues.
And we've heard them on the radio to Felix to say, look after those tyres. Pato O'Ward has opened a bit of a gap up. He's almost a second ahead of Felix Rosenqvist.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway, thanks to Honda for presenting our aerial coverage today of this 107th Indy 500. What a sight. What a day. Memorial Day weekend. Here we are racing at Indy, and it is fantastic at the front. Teammates still going at it, along with Santino Ferrucci in the mix. Rinus VeeKay, Alex Palou runs top 5. Will Power, his teammate, Joseph Newgarden, then Ericsson, Sato, and Connor Daly, the local hero, running in 11. Got a huge ovation from the crowd earlier today. We'll see what Connor can do a little later as we are fast approaching the halfway mark.
Looking out the back of the people-ready cam on board here with number 30, Jack Harvey, running in 30th right now, already 1 lap down, trying to fight off O'Ward from putting him 2 laps down.
Well, what you're hoping for here is Jack Harvey is a yellow flag just to let you get back around the track and get back onto the tail end of that lead lap and then still have to make your full lap back.
Yeah, we're lap 88. Kevin, I would expect the leaders, including Pato O'Ward, to come in maybe around lap 100. What are you hearing?
I think that's about right, and this works right into their favor. They're telling Pato, ride right behind Jack Harvey. This is saving you fuel, and you're still leading the race as long as Harvey can maintain a relative pace. Dylan.
Let's step in and grab a word with RC Enerson, who is, his car has been rolled back to the garage. Are you guys done, and what was the issue?
We're not really sure. We're going to have to go back and take a look. But, yeah, just came through one, and something went on with the car. But this team, Team Chevy, we've had a flawless month so far. For us to have a problem in the race, it's a bummer. But, you know, that's kind of just how racing goes sometimes. I think that's what we get for using up all our luck throughout practice, not having any problems with the car. So we'll just have to come back stronger next year. We'll go diagnose the car and see what's wrong. But, yeah, just a real bummer to be out that early.
Nothing to hang their head about for sure. The Able Motorsports team advanced and locked into the 500 against all odds.
26-year-old American RC Enerson of Able Motorsports certainly punched above his weight in qualifying, did a really nice job. The whole organization did a super job in a short span of time to get that car prepped, qualified on its first try. So a shame to see them out at this stage. Here's Ferrucci making a move on Jack Harvey and trying to go with fellow Chevrolet drivers Rosenqvist and O'Ward. Lap 90 of 200.
I tell you what, if this thing comes down to a top 3 shootout like it's shaping up, watch out for Ferrucci. He likes the outside move in turn 3. He's the only one well practiced in it as the McLaren teammates swap again. Rosenqvist to the 4.
And as this teamwork plays out here up at the front, another team that is super impressive so far is Team Penske. Will Power up at 7th. Joseph Newgarden, we talked about, up 9 spots from where he started. They might not have had the pace of qualifying, but as we've always said, this team shows up in a big way. The Pennzoil on board with Scott McLaughlin. Kumasato high off a 2. That was tight. And now Tony Kanaan trying to come on the inside.
Half inside.
Power making moves, and you can see all kinds of dust in the air. I think that's from Tony Kanaan making a pass in the grass on the back straightaway.
We didn't see what happened to Takuma Sato. Now is Benjamin Peterson, and that red number 55 for AJ Foyt Racing goes by Takuma, but he slowed up and caused all this mayhem. And look,
he's struggling. He's hanging on.
He's lost his
got
momentum.
an issue.
They were scrambling everywhere. Look out, look out.
Okay here, inside.
There are cars going everywhere.
Oh, that's Stingray Rob.
Yellow.
First yellow of the race, and one of the rookies in the field. McLaughlin goes one way, Kanan goes the other, and the day is done for the Dale Coyne Racing with Rick Ware Racing rookie.
It was
Stingray Rob done.
It was getting hairy there around the racetrack, Lee, but I didn't see Stingray involved in that melee of cars that we saw. Must have been a different issue for him.
What the heck, man? I take it that means you're okay at least.
We'll get to the bottom of this and show you a replay. Stingray Rob, what a shame.
AMR safety team there quickly, though. He's okay. That's the most important thing.
That's two of the four rookies out.
Sounded like he was frustrated about something with the team, maybe, as we get a replay here, but he's just high and in the marbles. And we just don't know what led to him getting high in the first place on that replay, but heavy right side contact as you see that tie rod come off and go dragging down the track.
Makes you wonder if it was a late move from Graham Rahal there in the 24 blue and white car for Dreyer Reinbold. Yeah, side by side there. You just can't do it this late in the stint, Townsend. Over 90 laps of green flag action. That's going to put a lot of marbles up there.
Oh, he's mad at Graham.
I'd like to see a bit of this Indianapolis 500 after 90 plus really good laps of racing, and here comes everybody headed for the pits. First in line, Felix Rosenquist of Arrow McLaren in the NTT data car. Kevin Lee.
And this timing of the caution is not great for Arrow McLaren because they had the best fuel mileage. They didn't need to pit for a little while. Pato O'Ward is going to hit his mark first, just wants a little bit of wing. In front of him, you're going to see Santino Ferrucci. This helped them. They were short on fuel, Marty.
Yeah, Kevin, kind of a game reset at almost halfway. A lot of drivers saying they want more downforce. You see Felix Rosenquist, bottom left of your screen, the leader coming on the pit road, said he feels very good about the handling of the car. Meanwhile, Rinus VeeKay said he's had a vibration on literally every run of the day. They make a wing adjustment, and the McLaren guys easily hold tight.
Hey, Marty,
oh my goodness!
Palou is out. Palou just got hit by Rinus VeeKay, who got sideways. Are you kidding me?
Wow. We told you earlier that pit lane, your race can be made or lost. And you're seeing the latter for the American Legion Honda with Alex Palou. The two guys who shared the lead for so much of the early part of this race have come together on pit road. VeeKay on your left.
So similar to what happened to Catherine Legge, just came out of the pit box. Yeah, he had cars on his outside. He had to keep it in the transition lane, fine, but just kept his foot in it, went around and took out Palou. He may have gotten away without any damage, but I promise you a penalty's coming for the 21. Heartbreaking for these teams.
We'll find out how badly damaged Palou's number 10 machine is. Maybe not so bad, but we'll feel more comfortable to go out in qualifying. He had minimal running, and yet he got in the field on his first attempt. It was nerve-wracking stuff, but maybe not as nervous as this, because Callum Isla leads and the reigning champion goes right around the outside. That's Marcus Ericsson. He got 3 positions in the one turn.
All kinds of action. Mid-pack, Rosenquist immediately to the front. But look at this 3-car battle. 2 Penske's and a Ganassi. Ericsson goes wide, and how about Alexander Rossi?
We just saw Stingray Rob end up in the wall being that high, but after the sweepers, you can utilize that second lane. Will Powers hung out to try. Connor Daly, Scott Dixon, 4 wide.
Dixon trying to go on the attack, and on the far left is Kyle Kirkwood.
4 wide at Indianapolis.
The pink car is Kirkwood. Good positions made there. Sato gets around Scott McLaughlin. Dixon's not done with yet either in the orange and blue machine.
Scott McLaughlin in that yellow submarine for Penske got checked up on the inside there. Everybody rolled around the outside, but look at Marcus Ericsson, guys. The defending race winner trying to get another position there on the outside. That was a cracking restart.
Santino Ferrucci saying not so fast as things settle down, but it was hairy at the back of the field. Alex Palou already up to 19th. He is charging back forward. O'Ward now goes to the front.
And as you see O'Ward take the lead, Rinus VeeKay drive-through penalty for that contact with Alex Palou. And VeeKay's currently running in 7th. He's going to be out of that and out of the running. That's
maybe not. Maybe not. If he can stay on the lead lap. VeeKay's currently in 7th.
Ferrucci on the inside, Rosenqvist on the outside. Eilot's gone from first to fourth. Rosenqvist, Award, Ferrucci, Eilot, and the defending Indy 500 winner, Marcus Ericsson, on that restart was outstanding. Incredible outside maneuvering here in the Husky Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing.
It was a great jump initially on the restart as we see Pato Award now back around Felix Rosenqvist into 3. That black McLaren back to the point. But man, I'm just thinking about that 3 wide move, hanging it on the outside there for Marcus Ericsson. Here's on board with Alexander Rossi on the restart.
Let's just watch.
Good Lord, I mean, that was absolutely the right move from Alexander Rossi to get out of the throttle there when he's in the middle of a 3 wide. But now look at Ericsson. And same with Rossi, just hanging it on the outside. Wheel starts coming up.
Wow, Alexander Rossi, that's the kind of angry fast hands we've seen out of him in the past on the ovals, and massive contact between Santino Ferrucci and Marcus Ericsson on the front straight as Mike and Danica are into this big time.
Wow, how about that? I want to spice it up a little bit more with Ericsson as they keep cycling the lead at the front. The Borg-Warner Trophy, as you know, the famed Borg-Warner Trophy. Marcus Ericsson, if he can defend his victory of a year ago, with thanks to Borg-Warner, fellas, check this. There is an additional $420,000 on the line for Ericsson to be the first to go back-to-back since Elio Castro Neves in the early 2000s.
That'll buy you some Husky chocolate. Hey, Dylan, what happened with Stingray Rob? Let's talk to him.
Yeah, let's chat with him. He is out of the infield care center. Stingray, what do you feel happened there?
I think I just need to pay more attention to the stereotypes of the series, pay attention to who I'm racing to, and I mean, that was just way too aggressive a move, I thought, but yeah, I guess we're in the wall and not much further to say.
Who are you talking about?
Whoever it was I was racing there. I know it was, but yeah.
Thank you, Stingray.
Understandably frustrated, wanted to do well in his rookie appearance, so let's get back to it.
Look, we've seen these cars up front, first, second, third, Rosenqvist, Award, Ferrucci. But guys, P4, Joseph Newgarden is all the way up to 4th place, 13 spots up from his start. He has just been slowly, quietly, methodically getting his way up. Yellow flag pit stops, that's always going to be a strength for Team Penske. He picked up a few more, and this number 2 red, yellow, and white car for Penske is absolutely doing exactly what it needs to be doing to find its way into the fight.
Ericsson up the inside of Callum Eilot. That red and white Husky Honda continues to climb its way forward. Ericsson 5th now. Restart is under review. We just got a note from race control. Let's have a look at it.
It's under review for highlights in action. Look at Callum Eilot warming his tires there with a little swerve. The question is, when did the green flag come out? If Scott Dixon gets a big jump on Kirkwood, we understand no action, everything legit. There you see the green flag waving furiously. But man, the 4 wide into turn 3 was insano.
What race control is looking for is a car that pulls out of line before that green flag command is given. Once the green flag command is given, you can race. You don't have to wait till the line, but if you pop out a line before they wave the green, that can be a penalty. I think it was close, but race control said no action, so we're on.
Who haven't we really spoken about today, fellas? The quiet achiever in this pack was about to go flashing by. It's the yellow and black car next in line. It's the Gamebridge Honda of Colton Herta, up 15 positions from his starting spot. The Andretti Autosport pilot is quietly sneaking his way forward. Rossi on Eilot. Back in a moment.
Well, they forgot to get the memo that it's 150 laps before we go racing, because get to the halfway point here at Indianapolis and everyone's got their knees and elbows out. O'Ward and Felix Rosenqvist working together slightly better at the front than they were last time out. That's Callum Eilot, who's got Connor Daly behind. But look at Colton Herta and Joseph Newgarden. Newgarden's been diligently making his way up the top 10, but Colton Herta's come from nowhere. Could Joseph Newgarden bring that Penske Chevrolet to victory lane?
think it's crazy to. I think Newgarden was really strong. Herta, Ericsson as well. Like he really moved forward, and it's interesting to see them. Like it's been really racy all of a sudden, and what's amazing me is that they can't really make a break. With Pato and Rosenqvist. I thought if they worked together, maybe they would be able to pull away a little bit more, but it just doesn't seem to work. So. Yeah, but those 3 cars, they really made a huge jump forward.
Yeah, Neil Wooding in my ears there, our producer at Sky IndyCar, saying that, Rossi there and Ericsson, the only 2 winners, previous winners, in the top 10. So we've got a real opportunity here at Indianapolis to crown a first-time Indy 500 winner. And Mark, you know what that means in terms of, from a driver's perspective, how important is that in a driver's career?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, really is. It's the jewel in the crown. But just to win a 500-mile race is something special, but at the same time to win the Indianapolis 500 is unique in motorsport. So, for any of those guys out there at the moment, I think they're all thinking about what they're doing at this present time, but come the end of the 200 laps, to go across that line and win and drink the milk, as they say, is very special indeed. I'm a little bit with Simona at the moment. I can't quite work out why these 2 can't work together just to get a little bit more of a margin, a bit of a break on the rest. And Ferrucci is just staying in contention. He's only 8 tenths behind the leader and just sitting there pretty again.
The last caution kind of scuppered the strength or the sort of armoury that Arrow McLaren had, as we see to the high side there. Connor Daly making a move on Callum Ilott. That's for 8th place, because they had such good fuel mileage. They were sort of racking those laps up, weren't they? And then they had to pit a lot earlier than they would have done.
Yeah, and I think that just put the people like Newgarden and Ericsson in the game, this caution, because they were quite further back, and also Will Power, lost quite a lot of positions there.
Remember playing with Hot Wheels as a kid? Well, they just got a whole lot bigger. Buckle up for an exciting new competition. It's Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge, Tuesdays on NBC and streaming on Peacock. And our dear mate Rutledge Wood, he's told us all about it. It is so exciting. You're going to love it. That's on Tuesday. Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge. Welcome back, Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe with you, the whole family. Mike Tirico, Danica Patrick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and the whole gang working this on lap 113 of 200. Yeah, we're already well over the halfway mark. Pato O'Ward retakes the lead from his teammate. Good back and forth going on here in front of Santino Ferrucci in 3rd. Joseph Newgarden, Marcus Ericsson, Colton Herta, then Alexander Rossi, Connor Daly, Callum Ilott, and Kyle Kirkwood in the 10th position. That's the pink car there for Auto Nation. You see right there running nice and consistently.
And this is the part of the race where the team is asking you for feedback on your balance. What do you think you would want for the end of the race for this shootout? A lot of chatter probably about mileage because the yellow came a little early and they're going to have to stretch this stint a little bit more. So a lot of conversations about framing up the end of this race, trying to figure out what the advantage is going to be.
Now, guys, we got kind of caught up with the yellow caused by Stingray Rob there, but just before that, there was a bit of a melee in turn 2 when Takuma got slow. We saw a puff of grass, but riding on board with Scott McLaughlin. Watch Tony Kanaan here. 200 miles an hour, completely 4 wheels through the grass. I don't think he lifted, T-Bell.
No, that was like Baja 500.
This goes beyond Hunter Ray's pass in the grass. Look at this, all 4 wheels. World's fastest lawnmower.
I cannot tell you how terrifying that must have been from inside the cockpit of Tony Kanaan, but no flinching.
I've only ever done that in a rental car.
Yeah, but not that fast. Oh my goodness. A little further back, there's Connor Daly, makes a pass. He goes around Callum Ilott. Daly sits in 8th for Ed Carpenter Racing. So, while his teammate Rinus VeeKay got penalised and is now back down in 28th, Connor Daly is flying the flag for ECR. Don't discount him. Keep an eye on Connor.
So these guys need to make this stint really work and stretch it out. And I wonder, is Arrow McLaren getting better mileage than Santino Ferrucci? I think he has the advantage to sit back there in 3rd. As Rosenqvist goes back to the front on his teammate, that choreographed move. And I really like where Joseph Newgarden is sitting. That Team Penske, that shell car, the number 2. We know they know how to take care of their tires over a long stint. Newgarden's been patient. The team's been amazing on pit lane, as always. And Marty, you talked about this before the start of the race, where Kevin, these guys wanted Newgarden to be right here, right now, in the top 5. They're exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, Joseph said with 50 to go, I want to be in the top 5, and he's been charging forward. I think the second stint might be one they look back as one that saved them. They were dealing with a vibration. He hung on, didn't lose any spots. The car is good now.
Kevin, the last 2 years have been frustrating, to say the least, for the driver of the Shell Chevy. Newgarden in 21 started 21st, finished 12th. Last year, started 14th, finished 13th. This guy is the ultimate competitor. He's a 2-time series champion, and the fact that he's seen his teammate Will Power and other teammates go on and win this one, and for him to be the one of the pride drivers of Team Penske, proud drivers of Team Penske, and not having won the 500, he wants to check that one off the list.
Gotta wonder what they might do on downforce adjustments on the next 2 pit stops, as the track temperature now crosses into that hot territory, 110 degrees, still rising.
All right, it's time to go through the field. Brought to you by Shell. Let's start with Dave Burns.
Lee, the 6th car in line there, the black and yellow Gainbridge Honda for Colton Herta, started 21st all the way up to 6th, and he told me this week, we will be good. We can work in traffic. We can pass cars. And after the first stint, they made an adjustment that made that car much better. He's happy with it, Kevin.
Dave Connor Daly has moved forward 8 spots. He felt he had a good race car. He just told the team, we've got a really good car, fellas, trying to become the first Hoosier-born winner since Wilbur Shaw in 1940. Dylan.
Kevin, think about where the Juncos Hollinger team and Callum Ilott were last week. At the end of last week, Callum presented an ultimatum, basically said, we need to get a backup car out, or I'm giving up my seat. Somebody else can drive it. They worked for 5 days trying to get their primary car up to speed. In 12 laps, had the new car fast enough to make the 500 field. Testament to this team, and Callum's never give up spirit. They're inside the top 10 now, Marty.
Dylan, so what did Alex Palou think of the contact on pit road? Listen on the radio.
It definitely made it more challenging. We're going to do the best we can here. Yeah, we're doing absolute stages. The 21 is.
Talking about Rinus VeeKay, an absolute legend. Lee, I want to remind you of the race last year. On the second stop of the day, Alex Palou ran out of fuel. On the day last year, he drove from 32nd to 9th. Already, just on this run, he's gone from 28th up to 17th. I think that lit a fire inside Alex Palou.
And we saw him in his championship-winning year in 2021 when he was last in Portland and drove all the way to victory. It was a pivotal race in his championship-winning season. He knows he can do it.
Callum Ilott, 29 laps since he last stopped. He's pushing into that fuel window. Mark Blundell pointing out the vibration on his front wing. It looks like his tyres are starting to blister. He's dropped back to 10th. Meanwhile, the 2 Arrow McLarens continue to control this race. It's been a real strong-arm performance from Arrow McLaren. And Ferrucci just sitting very pretty there, sucking up that dirty air, conserving the fuel in that AJ Foyt machine. And Newgarden, the Team Penske driver, flying the flag for the captain in 4th. And we were talking off air, Simona, about how much they value the in and the out laps and how racy they get at the restarts now as they come to the end of this stint, very much in tyre conservation, fuel save mode, just biding their time.
Yeah, definitely. I think on the restart you can take your chances, and you saw the people who have run already a few times at 500 that this outside lane works really well, and for Newgarden as well, I'm sure they were pretty flawless on the pit stops as well. They know how to get a car forward, throughout the strategy and their work in the pits. So yeah, and I think his in and out laps are going to be for sure as well the strongest. And yeah, I think they're in really good position. Now, Ferrucci can be a bit the wild character in there, when you're Newgarden just behind him. If you want to pass him or just sit back, I think he's going to be one of the tougher guys to get by, to be honest. So I don't know if it was in his shoes, I would maybe try to pass him already now and be more where Pato and Felix are.
Phenomenal seeing the cars just turn in at 220 miles an hour into turn one. If you've never been to Indianapolis, you would never, ever grow tired of that sight. We're coming to the end of this stint now, Mark. 29 laps since the front runners stopped. Some of those run the yellow, so expect them to go sort of another sort of 6 laps, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think a few more laps under the belt, but it's interesting now. They're just getting into a rhythm. You can just see the whole train there. They're just like trying to understand each other, see what they've got around them in terms of performance of car again. And there will be a little bit of thought now going towards the end of the race. There will be a little bit of communication that's talking about what do we need next in the car just to trim it out and get the ultimate speed to see if they can make the break for the win.
Alexander Rossi on the move there in the Johnny Rutherford tribute. Arrow McLaren, that's up to 6th place now, bumps Colton Herter in the Andretti Autosport machine down to 7th as we head into turn 3 on board that Arrow McLaren.
So glad you're with us, enjoying this Indy 500 telecast here on NBC, presented by Firestone. Let's have a look at a big move presented by Pods Moving and Storage. I want to take you back some 10 years to 2013 here at the Brickyard. 2 laps to go. Tony Kanaan makes a pass for the lead. Look at TK down on the inside there. Forceful move. And then there would be a very late race caution, which gave the most popular driver in IndyCar that long-awaited Indianapolis 500 win. There he is there in his Arrow McLaren. Smart stop, number 66. And TK just keeps cruising around. He is in 12th place at the moment. Hasn't done anything spectacular yet, but he's just been stable.
What do you mean? He went through the grass.
Oh, that's right.
At 2:30.
That's right. That was spectacular.
He's still recovering from that. He's probably watching the highlights on his phone right now, just kind of getting re-amped.
How relaxed was he?
This thing.
How relaxed was he when you chatted to him prior to the race? Just a long conversation.
He was good. I talked to him just before he got in his car, and then of course on the radio. But yeah, he was happy and process. I think the greatest thing, James, is he was aware of everything that was going on. I raced here 10 times. I was aware of nothing except right in front of me on the racetrack. It felt like Tony was really absorbing and processing the moment.
And that's a conscious decision from Tony this month to enjoy everything. You are so singularly focused on the race as a driver, but he knew this was going to be his last. He took the time to really just kind of open up and enjoy.
Look at how stacked up this is. This is wild. I want to show you a replay here just a few moments ago of the teammates again exchanging the lead. But look how long this train is growing.
And guys, they are stretching this thing. The speeds have dropped. Awards down to 207 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody is tiptoeing except Alex Palou. Look at the left-hand side of your screen. The guy we thought was out of this thing is up to 15th. He has more gas because when they had to fix his front wing, they were able to plug in and give him more Shell fuel. So Alex Palou is going to take big advantage of everybody going slow here and try to pick his way back to the front.
There goes Callum Eilert for Hunko's Hollinger. Remember, he stopped 3 laps prior to everybody else. Rosenquist back to the lead. Ferrucci third. Then Newgarden, Ericsson, Rossi.
These are starting to look like pace laps, James. They are crawling.
It is shocking how slow they're going. It is allowing Rinus VeeKay to catch back up to the tail end of this field. He didn't go a lap down. Don't think he's got enough time to make much of it, but this is now not only a fuel race, it's going to be a downforce race. We see Marcus Ericsson maybe taking a look at the inside of that red and yellow Shell Chevrolet if Joseph Newgarden couldn't get it done there. But because it's backing up so much, this is when drivers get impatient and sometimes make bad decisions.
Hey, Marty, what's the leader, Rosenquist and Award? What are you hearing about their downforce request?
A moment ago, Billy Vincent told Felix Rosenquist, I like what you're doing, as he gets pushed down almost to the wall there by Joseph Newgarden. And he said, but you need to save me more. That is why the pace has slowed down so much right now, Kevin.
Here comes Pato O'Ward. He's got to go around Benjamin Peterson's tires, but he's going to have an easy exit. He said, I need help with the rear. They contemplated front wing, but they're making a little bit of, I'm told, a rear wing adjustment. They can do that very slightly. And Pato O'Ward is back out in a little bit earlier this time. They've been running long on previous stints.
Look at Marcus Ericsson. Continues to push his way forward. He's made up 7 positions from where he started. And the defending Indianapolis 500 winner looking good. Let's go inside Chip Ganassi Racing, and in particular the number 10, a little bit of spy cam from Alex Palou's camp. Apologies for the audio there. Little technical hiccup, but nonetheless, that was Barry Wanzer, his strategist. And Barry is that calm voice on the radio. These two guys have bonded so well, formed such a great understanding and relationship.
Palou up to 12th with O'Ward pitting, but he is looking really good on making up the gap. I think that was Tony Kanaan coming to pit lane. This is where you need to get to, lap 132 to 134 to comfortably make it on one more stop. Marty, TK coming down potentially for the second to last time ever on pit lane at Indy.
How crazy is that to think 69 laps to go? TK, like a lot of other drivers, Townsend, stacked on downforce on the last stop. You're going to see more downforce go on because it's way sunnier and warmer than everybody thought it would be today. And all the McLaren cars were very trimmed out. His two teammates, though, Felix Rosenqvist up front having a good run of it. Pato O'Ward also as well. You're going to see this pit stop sequence happen right here. And here comes Felix Rosenqvist. And again, I'll reiterate what Billy Vincent told him a moment ago. I love what you're doing. You're not doing enough fuel save here. Coming at 132. They wanted to make it to 133, but could not quite get there. Pit road getting very busy. And with 68 to go, it's going to be tough to make it on a handful of stops here.
Tell you what, we've been singing the praises of the 10 team and Alex Palou and that great comeback. How about within the Ganassi camp, his teammate Scott Dixon? That early setback with the huge vibration. Dixon came in. He just said it was brutal, got service, and has been on the comeback trail hinge ever since. Now, of course, there's several ahead of him who have pitted, but Dixon up to 8th.
It's incredible what this Chip Ganassi Racing squad is doing. When they're dealt a bad hand, they just buckle down and get on with it. But now it'll be interesting to see as we see Felix Rosenqvist come out of pit lane ahead of his teammate Pato O'Ward there leading this path. How much further AJ Foyt Racing can go with Ferrucci, and here's the answer, Kevin.
And he was legit running third behind Rosenqvist. He said, I can pass him if you want me to. The car is awesome. The last AJ Foyt car to finish in the top 5 here in 2000. He's away.
Overshoots his pit, guys. Hurd overshot his pit coming in.
Oh, no. And it's his teammate immediately ahead, Romain Grosjean.
Well, his tires were already changed. I wonder if he stalled maybe coming out.
I think you're right, Mitch. Here it is.
Oh, he has
contact. They sent him right into his teammate. Although if you watch the right front tire changer, he was telling Colton Herta to hold.
My goodness. Teammates collide on pit road.
That is going to be an uncomfortable Monday morning meeting at Andretti Autosport. That is just not the kind of thing you can deal with. That certainly is under review. Contact in pit lane always has a consequence, Marty.
Got to say, I'm a little surprised. Alex Palou coming here, working lap 135, 66 to go. They probably could have gone one lap further, but Barry Wanzer making the call to bring him in. That'll be an easy split, 33 laps on each stint.
Yeah, Marty, I think what they'd want to make sure they cover now is they're back in the hunt. Don't leave yourself out there and a yellow comes and you get trapped and run out of fuel or have to make an emergency stop under a closed pit. We saw that get Scott Dixon, 2 years ago?
Look at this. Joseph Newgarden ahead of Santino Ferrucci. Remember, Kevin said he pitted third. And now Newgarden finds himself ahead of the AJ Foyt racer. And now, a special look at Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, only in theaters June 30.
Helio Castroneves pitting from the lead. It's Felix Rosenqvist. Now it's the two Swedes. Look, Marcus Ericsson up there to second place. Joseph Newgarden in third. Ferrucci still floating around the top 5 with Alexander Rossi there. There's some big movers and shakers. What's happened to O'Ward? Pato O'Ward down to 7th place. But the big talking point again in the pit lane. That's where all the action has been. And it is Romain Grosjean and Colton Herta. I think Colton Herta was being told to stay.
Yeah, but that's what's tricky because you have the person on the pit box telling you to go, and you will see the outside guy to hold. But maybe there must have been miscommunication, and he sends him. But it's crazy that two teammates, run into each other on pit lane. It's that shouldn't happen. You know, another team maybe, but not two teammates. That's definitely a big hiccup.
And that would have given Colton Herta especially a big shock. And if you've got your hands on the wheel, as we see, who's that? That's Pato O'Ward. Pato O'Ward making a move there. I think that is in the Arrow McLaren. You can tell his livery because it's all black. That is the McLaren GTR, the Le Mans win, part of 3 tribute liveries that you see on the cars this weekend. But it's still Ericsson now who's taken the lead. Last year's race winner, Marcus Ericsson, who's been quiet, right? That's the secret of this Indy 500. Stay quiet to lap 150 and then show your cards.
And I think stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
And to say, in the pit lane there, we've just seen trouble occur, and 2 of the main guys, or at least one of them with Herta, just taken out of contention maybe. But yeah, Ericsson, I mean, you're right. He's just been carefully building his way through the pack and now leading. And now we're going to just understand whether there's some real raw pace that's there for them to lead from the front and push on. I'm still convinced that maybe Ferrucci or someone might come through and just nibble on the hills.
Yeah, Ferrucci's the thorn in the side, isn't he? Ericsson has a chance to become the first back-to-back winner since Castro Neves in 2001, 2002.
Getting close to money time. Final 61 laps of the Indianapolis 508. New leader is Marcus Ericsson. The Swede is first with Felix Rosenqvist, Joseph Newgarden right behind, with Danica Patrick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. More action in the pits. Colton Herta, a pass-through penalty, as you saw before we went to break. What are you looking at here as we head down the stretch?
Oof, yeah, what a shame. I mean, I had him written down. I was like, we got to talk about Colton Herta. He's made a lot of progress today. But Joseph Newgarden has made even more, and he's right up there up front. I think he's going to be something to watch. But, I mean, I tell you, it's going to all be about when you make that last pit stop and how good are your tires at the very end of the race. These tires are obviously going off, so you want to pit as you want to be the first one to do it, but you don't want to do it so early that your tires are off by the time the end of the race comes.
Yeah, after McLaren had controlled this race from the very start, this recent run of pit stops has actually pushed Penske out front. So we'll have to see how they respond. A lot of guys pitting on different laps, so everybody's got a little bit better fuel mileage than others. They'll be able to push a little harder late in the race if needed, if this thing continues to go green.
And after leading the most laps early on, Palou was back in 28th after the pit road incident. Alex Palou has recycled out of pit stops. Big move there. He is 10th, 59 laps to go. We'll continue with more from Indianapolis in just a moment.
I think the big talking point for me now, Mark, is we're not quite in that window to get to the end in 2 stops. So they had 68 with a 30-stop window. And it's not just fuel, let's not forget. It's the tyres as well. The tyres aren't... So even if you had fuel to go 35 laps, will the tyres do that?
Yeah, the yellow has completely thrown it a loop in this race now. And you know, as a purist and as a guy that's been involved in the sport, and I'm just sitting there now, I'm enjoying every moment. Yeah, I mean, we do not know who's going to win this, and some of the moves out there as well, they're just getting a little bit on the high side. You've got some of the marbles that are coming back on the track, even though they've cleaned up the surface. I still don't think that everything is going to be controlled until the end. Something else will happen.
And who's systematically been moving through the top 10 every set of stops? That Team Penske car of Joseph Newgarden, whether or not it's the in or the out laps or the stop itself, picks up a couple of spots. He's now in 2nd place. He started 17th. He's behind race leader Marcus Ericsson, who started 10th. And Ericsson now has a friend to play in with Colton Herta, who's unlapped himself, towing him along.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think that's playing in Ericsson's card, you know, because you want to be at the front. That's the thing, you know, when you get towards the end of the race, in the top 3, you know, it's going to be chaotic, but definitely less chaotic if you're in P5, P6, because then you know you need to really move forward, and that's playing really into Ericsson's hand. And you know, the whole month, like you said, he's been quiet, but he has a really strong car underneath himself. And I think last year as well, I think he showed that he's pretty smart about it as well. And I think he's definitely somebody to really look out for, because I think he knows how to play the game as well.
Keep an eye out for Alex Palou. He's back inside the top 10. He's had to come from much further back after that incident with Rinus VeeKay in the pit stops. He was 28 and he has come back inside the top 10. He's ahead of Scott Dixon, who suffered sort of tyre woes in the first stint, who dropped right back as well. He's 12th, but Alex Palou looks the strongest in the race right now. He's been coming like a freight train.
Yeah, I don't think he's worrying too much about fuel at the moment. He's probably got a little bit in the hand, actually, with that stop that they made for the nose cone. And, you know, if he just can get himself back up the front there and back in that little leading pack, again, he's going to be right back in contention to take the win. I mean, like we say, I don't know who's going to win.
I'm going to hold you to a prediction soon, Mark, and then you're going to have to eat your words or strike it lucky. Right, we're approaching that golden period of the race. 145 laps to go of 200. Let's head back stateside.
You're watching NBC's coverage of the Indianapolis 500, brought to you by Firestone. On a gorgeous Midwest day, 80 degrees Fahrenheit here at the Speedway, and Marcus Ericsson, who crossed the yard of bricks first last year to become just the second Swedish driver in history to win, is out in front. And as far as fuel, he's looking good too because of the lead pack. He was the last to stop. This Husky Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing is in the groove.
He is, and he's getting a nice little bonus, which is that black and yellow Gainbridge car of Colton Herta, who's the last car on the lead lap, hoping for a yellow here so that Colton Herta can stack back up. But Ericsson leading with draft help is ideal. It reminds me of Alexander Rossi back in 2016.
Yeah, but he's not getting the amount of help from Colton Herta that Joseph Newgarden and Felix Rosenquist are getting from Marcus Ericsson. Colton is desperate to put his foot down, catch back up. He's on the tail end of the lead lap, but these other cars, they need to run a slower pace than that.
Ericsson doesn't have a teammate to work with right now, as the Earl McLaren boys are still comfortable in 3rd, 4th, and 5th to work together.
Well, talking about that, Kevin Lee, Pato O'Ward's in 5th. He led 30 laps so far today. What's the story with the Mexican?
And they are not comfortable. Remember, they came in 3 to 5 laps early on the last stint, and there is big trouble.
So, Pato, just to keep you in the loop, we aren't filling. We don't know why. We need to maximize our fuel save right now. And when they're in the pack, you're currently still P6.
They're not getting full fills. They are short on fuel. They said if we still get a yellow, we can get back in it. But otherwise, they're going to need an extra stop on everybody else, most likely.
Absolutely. They just will not be able to stretch it. The last stop should come around lap 167 to 170 in that range. And at Pato's current situation, he's going to be short of that milestone.
Yeah, when you come into the pits, you try to get all 18.5 gallons available to you of that Shell Racing fuel, and sometimes there are anomalies that just don't let that tank get full, and that is a huge detriment to the race of Pato O'Ward right now.
Hey, Hinch, I watched recently Unleashing the Dragon, where you sat down. It's available on NBC Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You sat down with Marcus Ericsson and relived last year's Indy 500 win. A lot of veterans commented on that. His engineers commented on it. You were sitting in a theater watching it back with him. You might have to go back to that theater again based on what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, we'll have to put 2 seats in between us for both Baby Borgs if he can keep this performance up. But no, a great opportunity to sit with Marcus and really dissect every stage of the race, what he and his team were talking about, what they were thinking about, what they were strategizing, and ultimately how they came away with the biggest prize in motor racing. And it is not an unfamiliar sight to see that red and white Husky car up front.
One of the coolest spots in this place is when the cars enter turn 3 at speed. Steve Letarte is there. Tell us more, Stevie.
Diff, you said it. 300,000 people descend on Speedway, Indiana for the Indianapolis 500 for a lot of reasons, but the number one reason that keeps fans coming back is the daring speed. As we see on the right side, the field's now down in 1 and 2. They're going to exit turn 2 and come down the backstretch. We're in the turn 3 grandstands. These are where the seats are available. And just look at this absolutely raw speed as these cars come into the screen. I'm going to get out of the way and test our cameraman to see how good he can pan and follow along. It's just unbelievable, Diff. It never gets old no matter how many times you've seen it.
Caution is out. What is it for? And it's for Romain Grosjean in the DHL Honda for Andretti Autosport.
The car's dead.
Looks like off of turn 2 again, guys. That was the same spot that he had issues last year. Lap 106 in the race back in 2022. The number 28 found the outside of the turn 2 wall.
Crashed in Texas in turn 2 as well, the last oval race this season. Not sure if that happened on his own or contesting the position with another driver, but the day is done.
Don't forget the pit road contact, with his teammate.
Just going to say that, Dave. Maybe there was some sort of damage. You never know. These cars are so sensitive on these high-speed ovals, Townsend. Even
as he did in Texas earlier on this year. It's Romain Grosjean who found the marbles in turn 2. That's his nemesis, whatever oval he is on. And it's going to be quite the clear-up for Romain Grosjean's incident there. Quite a lot of debris and detritus on the circuit. They'll get all the marbles cleaned up. You like that, Mark, didn't you? That was a big word. But this is the yellow that, with 50 laps to go, a lot of the teams, strategists and drivers were hoping for.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that was going to be the case as well. Like we said a little bit earlier, the race is not over yet in terms of what could happen. It's just happened with Grosjean. Looked at
letting him lead, but yeah, he seems to have quite a strong car in traffic and also by himself at the front.
I mean, with the blistering we've seen, that's why I said it was strange that they stayed out. Surely you'd want to be on the fresher rubber come the end.
If it were me personally, I'd love to be on the fresher rubber because that grip is going to be so beneficial. But who knows, Tom? I mean, as I say, you cannot pick a winner at the moment. And for me, I don't want to be leading 2 or 3 laps from the end.
Is leading the race for an American icon. AJ Foyt Racing, Santino Ferrucci out in front and looking good, setting good pace, looking comfortable. And he's got the defending Indianapolis 500 winner chasing him down.
And we've talked a lot about strategy today as Kyle Kirkwood starts to flex some muscle, passing Newgarden for 3rd. But let's keep strategy simple now. Everybody, one more stop to get to the end. The only question, when do they elect to come in?
Will Power.
Moving slowly. Uh-oh. That steering wheel doesn't look very straight. I know we run a bit of offset on the wheel, but that looks egregious.
Yeah.
Did he smack the wall?
They just asked him if the car's bent, and that's a great call, James. I've seen Will Power get really wide in the exits of turns 2 and 4. Where did this happen? Turn 2. He's been flirting with this all day long. Right rear, that's going to bend the toe length.
Oh, boy.
It's a small mistake, but a costly one with only 32 laps to go in this race. Effectively, that will be done. You can see the bent suspension on the back, in the right rear corner there. Tough break for a day that was already going tough after the weight jacker broke on Will Power. As we see Santino Ferrucci, Kevin, he is in pit lane.
And I think this is good enough to be able to get home. Larry Floyd has been talking with him, saying, you can lead if you want. It's going to be tight, but we can get there. Little front wing change. Let's keep an eye on the homes for troops. ABC Supply Chevrolet. Final stop likely. Half turn of front wing. They get it done really quickly. How good is this stop? They needed to be a quick one. Track position is going to be key, and that might have cost them a little time.
They just totally lucked out that random front tire rolling across the track was able to be grabbed by Didier Francesca, the outside front tire changer.
It left the pit box. There's a very good chance of penalties coming.
No, it did not.
It absolutely left the pit box.
The pit box.
We'll take another look at that. It was absolutely over the white line.
I don't think so.
Let's have a look.
It doesn't matter. It was a slow stop either way, but let's see what happens. That goes over the line.
I don't know.
What do you know? There's a line in the tires over it. I'm not sure if it's a penalty, but it 100% was out of the pit box.
Well, I don't know if it'll be a penalty because it's under control of the right front tire changer. What a brilliant job from Didier Francesca to reach out and grab that.
Wow. However, while he has stopped and said, I'm coming in to set the tone for the rest, did you notice that Connor Daly also came in and stopped as well? Where's that going to put him? Here they come, Kevin Lee. There is a heap of cars on pit lane.
The American from Tennessee, Joseph Newgarden, has done everything but win the Indy 500, 2 championships, the winningest IndyCar driver, maybe one stop away from a win here at Indy, Marty.
Marcus Ericsson feels very good about the car. The team saw the stop by Ferrucci's team. They know they need a clean one here. Going for back-to-back 500s. Rosenqvist also on pit road here. Everyone flat out for the rest of the race with 29 to go.
All right, so where is Santino Ferrucci? Here he comes into turn 1. Penalty for Ferrucci, but it's not a drive-through. It's a warning and it's a monetary fine. He is still in this race.
As he goes by Scott Dixon, Kyle Kirkwood, he's going to have the run on Joseph Newgarden.
Here comes Ferrucci. Here's the battle. Ferrucci drafts up on Rosenqvist, who beats him out. Inside for Ferrucci on Rosenqvist.
So it's just Marcus Ericsson that stays in front.
All right, go get him.
Go get him is the call.
Here we go. Your reigning champion, your defending 500 winner is out front with less than 30 laps to go. But Santino Ferrucci chewed him up and spit him out earlier. As now Felix Rosenqvist on the inside of the 14.
I'm really surprised that Ferrucci didn't defend Rosenqvist more aggressively. Ferrucci's struggling to get this thing wound up and up to speed. Cold tires, but should be warm at this point. And now Newgarden and Kirkwood are coming strong. How about Kyle Kirkwood? Don't discount Kyle Kirkwood. Here comes Newgarden on the outside of Ferrucci. The Shell Chevrolet.
That's the move that Ferrucci's been putting down on people, Marty, but Joseph Newgarden pulled it off as Rossi's in the pits.
Alexander Rossi still in contention for a top 5. Said he wanted a fairly big wing change. Alex Palou also coming in. Expect Sato, all the other teams that were on the alternate strategy to come shortly.
Guys, Felix Rosenqvist is all over the back of Marcus Ericsson in that red and white Husky Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing. There's Rossi now, bottom of your screen.
Look who's joining the party. Rossi's going to come out, fall back to maybe 4th, and then wind it up to speed as Rosenqvist charging on Ericsson. Countryman on countryman here, the only 2 Swedish drivers in the race, and they are battling for the honors here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Oh, start rubbing your hands together. It is on for the final 25 laps of this race.
Fascinating to see the likes of Alexander Rossi, Pato O'Ward covering off that yellow. Well, it was Alexander Rossi, certainly you saw in the pit lane. I don't think Pato O'Ward was in the pit lane, was he? He still leads, but it was definitely Rossi, and that's interesting because they think that they can try and win this race from where they're going to end up, which is 15th. Not sure that's played out, but Newgarden at the moment just ahead of Rossi in 14th. Ericsson leads this train in 12th, but you know, Rossi now is, although he's in 15th, he's a good 5-6 seconds behind as we see Kirkwood battling it out with Ferrucci, who's got that penalty. And it's going to be down to the checkered flag now. 24 laps to go. O'Ward leads Ryan Hunter-Reay as we welcome the main event viewers to this Indianapolis 500, the 107th running, and you've joined at just the right point to see who's going to take this now to the checkered flag. And it's the 2 Swedes, we think, that are in the box seat, although they sit 11th and 12th at the moment, Simona.
Yeah, it's I think it's super exciting right now. You see also Rosenqvist just not wanting to lead at the moment, yeah, I don't know. I'm like you know, there's so much going on. It's quite fascinating, to be honest, at the moment. Yeah.
I think what you have seen is the pressure of the Indy 500 for that poor mechanic who made the mistake of losing the tyre for Ferrucci. I mean, that was just a pressure situation, yeah, and. It's probably going to cost him now an outright win, maybe. I mean, that was definitely on the cards. I mean, he had the pace.
So what interests me now, as we see Scott McLaughlin in pit lane, is Pato O'Ward clearly going off strategy. And McLaren have split the strategy between O'Ward and Rossi. So they put Rossi in the same boat as the stoppers that stopped a second ago, as TK, Tony Kanaan in that final Arrow McLaren livery leaves pit lane. But it's... yeah, if you look at the big names in that league group, there's not too many of them. So O'Ward's either going to strike it lucky here, but if there's a yellow, it's going to really benefit the likes of Ericsson, Rosenqvist, Newgarden and Rossi, who's just stopped.
Next time across the yard of bricks, 21 laps to go. Marcus Ericsson, who won his first Indianapolis 500 a year ago, may have company soon in the form of the driver who won the 100th Indy 500, Alexander Rossi, arm wrestling with Joseph Newgarden, and Newgarden not relenting.
The cowboy Newgarden riding the high side out in that dirty piece of racetrack and reminding Alexander Rossi, if you're going to beat me for my first Indy 500 win, you're going to have to be real brave. Newgarden not interested in letting Rossi by.
Don't worry, bravery is not something Alex Rossi is short on. If he gets that opportunity again, he will try to make that pass happen. But guys, this is what we're talking about, 20 to go. It's as forceful as you like. You're going to hang it on the outside. You're going to throw it up the inside. Anything to stay in front.
But look at the lap count here. These top six drivers all need to pit, including Pato O'Ward, who just came to pit lane. And remember, as Kevin reported earlier, they're having trouble packing fuel in that thing.
And they could have gone a little bit longer, but the plan was as soon as you catch some traffic, that's when we're going to peel off. They need to do fast laps. Everyone else is saving just a little bit. They can go as hard as they want to go.
Game on now for Pato O'Ward. Look at where everybody else is coming. He's been released for the final time. Look to the left to see the effective leader. Here come the pack.
Guys, he's going to be in the mix here.
Yeah,
he is going to be in this conversation for sure. As Alex Rossi again.
That was like a replay of last lap. Here comes Pato O'Ward. I think Ericsson will get him, maybe Rosenquist, but Pato O'Ward should slot into third and be able to defend on Newgarden.
And he's got much newer tires.
Beside you, outside.
Not much.
Outside, Felix, you're
clear in third with Newgarden hot in pursuit.
That worked out.
This is for the win.
That worked out very nicely for Pato O'Ward. You heard his engineer, Will Anderson, say mix 3. This is for the win. It's Alex Rossi so close to the wall.
Just a little subtle reminder, this is for the win. And let's not forget that Pato O'Ward told our Kevin Lee earlier, when Kevin asked him, if you're in the position you were a year ago to make a move on the last lap for the win, he said, I'll be going for it this year.
He had a good shot last year, but he was very conservative backing out of the throttle. What does Rosenquist do here? Look at O'Ward!
Inside, almost a pass on the grass, gets second. So now the two guys who were duking it out on the final laps last year, it's a rematch, it's a repeat.
2.0, the battle, Ericsson v. Pato O'Ward. We have another thrilling battle coming. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Marcus knows how to lead this race at the end. He knows how to break the draft, how to unleash the dragon, as it were. But Pato O'Ward in that black McLaren is hounding him.
Pato's got a little bit of understeer coming off turn 2, but a massive run. Pato O'Ward low and to the front.
Ericsson can't fight.
Clear, clear.
Clear, clear. He's not going to fight that. And Pato O'Ward, is this going to be a dream come true? There's still a lot of work to be done. 16 laps left here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That tire advantage is not nothing, though, guys, as we see Joseph Newgarden on the outside of Felix Rosenquist. Moves that shell car. Oh! Felix in the wall, big time.
This is going to be a big hit right here. I don't know if he's going to keep it out of the turn 2 wall. Oh, no!
Kirkwood. Ooh. Kirkwood upside down.
Guys, this will be a red flag, almost certainly. Huge impact.
Felix Rosenquist crashed and spun.
Out of the car. Sit tight.
And Kyle Kirkwood had nowhere to go. The AMR safety team, as always, they're as fast as they can be.
And one thing you love to see is the integrity of the roll hoop and the aero screen and all of the safety innovations strongly intact as Kirkwood sits turtled there in his race car.
Just unfortunate timing, wrong place, wrong time. Felix Rosenquist's car out of control after hitting the wall. Nowhere for Kyle Kirkwood to go. Just a massive hit. You heard Brian Hurt on the radio telling him to sit tight, don't undo your belts.
Oh, that's nice to see him moving in the cockpit.
He was having
good. It's just my knee.
Just my knees, he says. There's Felix Rosenqvist out of his car as well. Two guys who were up front with a legitimate shot in the Indianapolis 500. Not sure what happened to Rosenqvist, but we saw the aftermath there, and the Andretti Autosport driver Kyle Kirkwood had nowhere to go.
Cars stay under yellow right now. No red flag yet. IndyCar will be debating how long they think it'll take to clean up the accident based on the number of laps remaining. You can see the AMR safety team addressing all the fluids that typically are exiting the race car in this condition. Oil and water, presumably.
There's Kyle Kirkwood, acknowledges the crowd. This will decipher what happened. Right-hand side of your screen is Rosenqvist. Newgarden goes around him, getting a little high.
Yeah, when the car in front of you comes down, it takes a bit of the air off your front wing. You lose some front grip. Joseph left him some room on the bottom. It's not like he took all the racetrack. You see that, but Felix just getting in the dirty air. And then, yeah, once you hit that
point, that right front steering arm is broken, and he can't steer the car. He's out of control and just a passenger. And here comes Kyle Kirkwood, almost avoids it as the left rear comes off. And a vicious crash for Kirkwood. Cockpit first along the safer barrier.
Looking outside, nothing behind him.
See, what I want to see from Felix there is be down below the white line. You know that Joseph's going to come down, and here it just spins it. Oh.
Worst position to be in as a driver.
And you see that wheel that was ripped from Kyle Kirkwood's car. It goes flying.
Just such a helpless feeling as a driver. First right here from Felix Rosenqvist. Once the toe link is bent and the car sends itself into the wall, comes back across, spins out. And then again from Kyle Kirkwood, you saw he was trying to check up to avoid, I believe it was Ferrucci in front of him. Yeah, right there. He's on the brakes, nowhere to go. You see the crowd duck as that tire misses.
I think it cleared the grandstand.
It just cleared.
You do not see that very often. We have wheel tethers attached to all four corners of these cars, and I have seen some monumental shunts where the tires and wheels all stay attached to the chassis.
There's something about the contact that sheared the tether instantly.
Yes.
Almost like a meat grinder. It just cut the tether perfectly right away. See the rear wing come off.
I'll be honest, guys, I'm surprised we haven't seen a red flag.
Well, they'll probably wait. They'll probably give it their best chance until they know they need to, would be my hunch. 14 to go right now on timing and scoring.
The cars are in pit lane. The cars are in pit lane. We have moved to a red flag situation. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
And look at where we are, though. Pato O'Ward and Marcus Ericsson under red flag with a handful of laps to go.
It's the reverse of what it was last year with Ericsson.
Yeah, you see Ryan Hunter-Reay drafting the pace car even just to save a little bit more fuel there. That's how low he is. As soon as pit lane will open, he'll dive in and top off.
Even though it's not going to work out for Ryan, it has been a wonderful return to the Speedway for Captain America. A full year away. He was here last year as an advisor for Juncos Hollinger Racing, but time away from the track and away from the schedule has given him beautiful time with his 3 kids and wife Becky. He's really enjoyed that. He said he came back this year with a refreshed view, a different lens, so to speak, and he's really enjoyed this month of May.
Yeah, you know what? For him and Dreyer Reinbold Racing, the local team that only competes in this race, not the full IndyCar schedule. Let's face it, they led laps at Indianapolis. That's not a bad day, as those cars on fumes are forced to their pit boxes to top up.
And that opens up the pathway for Pato O'Ward, Marcus Ericsson, Joseph Newgarden, Alexander Rossi, Santino Ferrucci, Alex Palou. Do not count out Alex Palou. I told you that story of a couple of years ago when he had a turn 1 crash with his teammate, and I think it was Felix Rosenquist at the time, in Portland, went all the way to the back end of the field, told his team on the radio, let's go win this race, boys. They did, and a couple of races later, or the very next weekend, he won the championship. This guy has a lot of grit and determination, but so too Kevin Lee was the guy at the front.
And we saw the finish to last year's race when Pato O'Ward chose to back out and finish second. He told me this week the only option I had trying to complete that pass was going into the wall. We didn't have the power to beat the Ganassis last year, so that was the smart thing to do. This year is a different story. The cars are better. The cars are quicker. If I have the chance this year, I'm going to go for it. Expect some lead swapping here and a fantastic finish.
There's a nice shot of that beautiful helmet. Folks, that is hand painted. Every delicate, intricate mark that you see on that helmet is hand painted. It has a beautiful, I was able to hold it and rub my hand across it. You feel the raised bumps of the paint. It is beautiful matte finish.
And he's so
intricate.
proud. Pato O'Ward, who has a helmet seemingly a new design every race, so proud of all the artists down in Oaxaca, Mexico that contributed to that great design.
All right, this guy's a boxer as part of his training. He is ready for this fight. He is ready to go. He is one of the fan favorites in the NTT IndyCar Series. He is so popular. His vivacious personality. He's got a great sense of humor. I love the influence that he has had on kids. I see so many kids walking around with the bright papaya McLaren shirts with Pato on the back and his racing number. They like him because of his humor and his personality. But boy, can he drive.
Guys, if we look at the restarts that we've had so far today, 2 names in that top 10 really stand out to me. Marcus Ericsson, we saw him be really brave, and Santino Ferrucci, we've seen him pull off some big moves on these restarts. So there's a couple of drivers there that have already shown they can move up when these green flags come out.
It's the 60th birthday of McLaren Racing. Imagine if Pato O'Ward could bring McLaren a big birthday present.
And just think back to earlier in the race when Alex Palou and Rinus VeeKay were wrecked on pit lane, and they're both in the top 10 for this restart. How about Dixon, who's been patiently surviving today? Newgarden that's been charging to the front like we talked about. I mean, there are so much aggression and frankly so much speed and ability all the way down. You know, even McLaughlin could do something brave here on the restart.
Now I said, could he give McLaren a birthday present? Last McLaren win at the Indy 500, Lone Star, JR, Johnny Rutherford, 1976. Johnny is here. Wouldn't that be something special?
It sure would. And what's going to be special, guys, is the last 10 laps of this race. There he is, Zach Brown. But this is going to be an absolute old-school shootout.
Here's Kyle Kirkwood. Excuse me, Hinch. Dylan?
Yeah, let's catch up with Kyle, released from the medical center. Was that one of the most terrifying things you've been a part of? Not only to have Santino, or have the car spinning in front of you, not be able to see, but then the aftermath as well.
Yeah, I mean, the aftermath, I mean, everything happens so quick. You don't really know what happens. All I've heard right now is that I was up in the fence, which is never a good thing in IndyCar. But thank God these cars are so safe, because right now it was, it could have been a lot worse based on, yeah, exactly what just happened there. And I see the sparks flying everywhere. You know, that was the scary part, because no one's getting to me and I'm upside down. You're kind of stuck at that point. But I'm just glad I'm so safe, man. Our AutoNation Honda was just so good today, and we felt like we were going to win it. We were just driving through cars there in that second to last stint. So glad I'm okay. Glad the car was super fast, but disappointed in that finish, no doubt.
Thanks, Kyle. Glad you're okay. Great to hear that, and awesome to see these fans ready to see the ultimate showdown here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Look at that line. Look at the list of stars. Who do you like? There's Iris, Marcus Ericsson's wife. She's saying, can he do it again? I hope so. Joseph Newgarden's wife. She's hoping that finally they can take home the Borg Warner Trophy and the baby Borg. Who's it going to be? McLaren, Chip Ganassi Racing, Team Penske. They're all in there with a shot. But it's Pato O'Ward at the front of the field, the 24-year-old Mexican. Can he score a victory here at the world's biggest race, the greatest spectacle in racing? This is going to be a 9-lap sprint. And the start has been waved off.
I like that call.
Yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow.
They were too slow. O'Ward had woed him way, way down to seemingly pit lane speed.
It's funny, guys, as you watch here, all the cars doing this sort of snaking on the straightaways, trying to clean off their tires. Pato O'Ward, dead straight, dead center, dead focused. All he's doing is looking forward. He's not weaving his tires. He's not trying to get heat in them through the brakes. He is just thinking about getting that right foot down as soon as possible and trying to break free.
So that'll be a warning to O'Ward to up the pace on this next attempt.
Giddy up. Let's go.
They just didn't like how slow O'Ward
and look at Ericsson,
stacked up the field. Yeah. What you do in that situation is load up the turbos on the brake pedal and try to get everything spooled up and then release the brake. As you saw drivers ready to jump further back, I think that might have been Hunter Ray.
All right, down the back stretch this time. Reset, re-rack, and it's going to be an 8-lap sprint that will be exhausting.
Nice job.
Turn 3.
Just a little, not much. Make them happy.
Short shoot. Ready for the restart at the Indy 500 to see who will win. Can Marcus Ericsson defend his victory of a year ago? Will it be a first for Newgarden or O'Ward? Here we go at the Speedway. The restart at the Indy 500. Marcus Ericsson and Pato O'Ward. And here comes Joseph Newgarden, taking the lead for Team Penske.
And stacked up behind him with Joseph Newgarden, third to first. You see them two wide scrambling. Maybe a dive down into two there from Connor Daly on Scott Dixon.
Watch Santino Ferrucci and Alexander Rossi on the back straight. Rossi's in the orange car. Ferrucci goes to the high side. These two did not like each other in practice on Friday, and Ward goes to the front.
O'Ward on the inside of Marcus Ericsson and spins. Pato O'Ward has crashed out of the Indianapolis 500.
That was a wild ride for Pato O'Ward. Thought about going to the inside, came up, went back down for a late move. Other cars involved, Augustine Canapino moving slowly, and it looks like one of the Meyer Shankage. Oh, no control, obviously, for Canapino. Hits the stopped car of Pato O'Ward. Carnage in 3.
Simon Pagenaud is the pink and white Meyer Shank car. Canapino comes to a rest next to O'Ward.
There's Simon Pagenaud, 2019 winner of the Indy 500. Is Meyer Shank Honda to a stop. Oh boy. Well, we said it was going to be an 8-lap sprint. Well, we didn't even get one flying lap done, and Zach Brown, CEO of McLaren Racing, just shakes his head saying, there's our biggest, best chance gone, and another red flag. Pato out of the car.
Yeah, no surprise there with that many cars on the track with only 7 laps to go. Devastation down there on the 5 stand. They still have Alexander Rossi in the fight. McLaren is not out of this yet, but one of the best shots they had is now in the wall.
And guys, you could just see the urgency from everyone. Like, this is my chance. This is the big moment. Well, if you get 10 drivers thinking the same thing at the same time, then yellows, we say it all the time, they breed yellows. And we've seen it once again here with another red flag. Nice to see Pagenaud climbing out of the car under his own power.
Yeah, I think we saw that move from Pato O'Ward. It was a duck to the right and then a really late drop down to the left. We'll wait for the replay, and then Ericsson just as desperate to not give him the ground. He was trying to hold it on the outside, cold tires. I'm not sure if there was contact or not. We'll wait for the replay, but
looked like it.
Hard racing.
AMR safety team, they're conversing with Agustin Canapino. Here's the Shell Chevrolet for Team Penske, Joseph Newgarden. We saw a shot of his wife Ashley earlier, and there's nobody more familiar with the story than Ashley of how this race has escaped Joseph Newgarden, one of the best drivers in IndyCar, a two-time series champion, and it's been a point of annoyance that he has not been able to grasp this one. Or maybe today is the day that all of that changes. Let's show you some replays of why we're under a second red flag. Watch the black and white car to your right.
You see that late pop out. He faded to the right, then dives back left. He goes all the way into the grass, Townsend. You saw his left sides hit the dirt.
Look at the save from Ericsson,
so
too.
High.
I'm pretty sure there was contact right front to Ericsson's left rear, and Ericsson did a beautiful job to save it. Here's a tight shot of O'Ward. Heavy right rear impact.
It reminds me so much of that turn 1 2012 Dario Franchitti Takuma Sato
yeah.
Going for the win at the 500. So lucky that car came back down and didn't ride along the wall and get the nose up into the catch fence there. But you're right, huge save from Marcus Ericsson. Look at that.
Now the other question is, what happened to Pagenaud and Canapino?
Well, obviously, this happening right at the front of the field, you're going to check up a lot of drivers. You see that the right rear is basically gone in Augustine.
That was a massive hit for 10 miles an hour.
There's a lot of vertical.
This is Pagenaud.
Oh, he just gets run into. Like, was that Scott McLaughlin, maybe?
It sure did look like McLaughlin.
It is Agustin Canapino. Listen. Oh.
So likely severed brake line for Canapino, so no pedal pressure and broken steering. That is an absolute bobsled ride
in a lot
for
of
Canapino.
In a lot of ways, he was lucky he wasn't going faster, and here's what started it. Scott McLaughlin into the back of Pagenaud.
Wow. Second red flag. Back in a moment to see who's going to win the Indy 500.
Focused and maximizing my potential.
All right, let's look at another contender, and you just saw a shot of AJ Foyt a moment ago. Supertex, the four-time winner at the Indianapolis 500, the legend. When was the last win for AJ Foyt Racing? It was 24 years ago at the hands of Kenny Breck. Kenny is here. There's AJ. Are the stars aligning for this man here? At 88 years of age, is he going to see another victory at the place that made him who he is? He has told me before, I wouldn't be AJ Foyt, in air quotes, if it wasn't for the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, AJ essentially the first legend of this racetrack. As you say, Diff, this really made him who he was and made him the international superstar that so many people know him as, considered one of the greatest in the business. And now he sits there and watches his driver restarting third with a handful of laps to go. Remember the last restart? Pato O'Ward up front, bit of a sitting duck. Marcus Ericsson had a great run, but it was P3, Joseph Newgarden, that came out of turn 1 in P1, and that is where Santino Ferrucci restarts this race.
Newgarden's restart on the last attempt was amazing. Just freight training it down the front straightaway, getting 2 spots to grab the lead. Is he going to be able to do it again from the lead?
Can I just say, from where we sit, what a pleasure it is to be talking about AJ Foyt and a car in contention.
He's had so many physical ailments through the years, whether it's crashing in race cars or stuff since he retired, but I see a sparkle in those blue eyes that looks like it's back in the 60s here in a Roadster. He is fired up, squared up in his seat, up on the wheel of his race team, ready to get it.
Do you want me to tell you how the spirit in this guy, how alive it is? I saw him at Texas. He said, I've just had a new pacemaker put in, and the doctor told me I'm not allowed to have any more beer. But I felt like a beer today, so I'm having a beer.
There'll be plenty tonight if they can pull this off.
Newgarden at the front. Never won an Indy 500. He's ahead of the defending winner Next up, Ferrucci, never won a 500. Behind him, Alexander Rossi, the winner of the 100th running. Alex Palou has come so close. Dixon has won just one. Daly, the pride of Indianapolis, would love to win one. Get ready. This is going to be unbelievable. Who wants it more? Who's going to be able to perform under the most intense pressure? Green is the call here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's go and watch Alexander Rossi, fourth car.
Oh, they're wrecking.
Big crash.
Peterson, Graham Rahal, Ed Carpenter, all in the wall before start finish.
Uh-oh.
Marcus Ericsson is credited with leading at the moment with 4 laps to go. Guys, do we have time for another red flag?
Benjamin Peterson, fastest ever qualifier, fastest ever rookie qualifier for AJ Foyt Racing, does not get to see the checkered flag, nor does Ed Carpenter, the only owner driver in the field. The Bitnall Chevy. It's done for the 33.
Think about this. 4 to go. You have at least 1 more lap to come around before they throw the red. Then you need 2 laps to get going. Guys,
what's going on here? Why is Ferrucci challenging?
Ferrucci's
coming to an accident scene.
Trying to contest the position. The yellow flag is waving. Ericsson was ahead when the yellow came out per our screens. We're waiting for official confirmation on that. But guys, I don't know if there's enough time for a red flag. I'm watching the flagger.
Well,
I'm not seeing them grab for another flag.
3 to go. Watch the upper left-hand corner. 3 laps across the bricks, and there's debris that all the drivers have to carefully navigate their race cars and their 4 Firestones through.
A car on either side of the racetrack. Benjamin Peterson's and Ed Carpenter's, and a whole lot of debris that needs cleaning up. It was coming to green. Graham Rahal was involved in it as well in the Dreyer Reinbold Carekeepers entry. And we have had it confirmed from race control. Car 8 is the leader. And they're coming to 2 to go. That's probably going to be it.
Guys, no one wants to finish a race, especially the Indy 500 under caution, but I just don't think there's an option as long as that number 8 car runs to the flag behind this pace car. I think we have a back-to-back Indy 500 winner.
And the driver of the red and white Husky Chocolates car is going to get apparently another red flag.
I stand corrected. Oh my goodness.
3 red flags in this Indy 500. They have to reset again. Oh, and look at the Chip Ganassi squad on car number 8. They can't believe it.
Can you imagine AJ Foyt Racing thinking that it was over? And there he is, Super Tex.
He's got another
looking
shot.
to the heavens saying, hey, this might be our day, boys. We're going to get another shot at this.
And his car is second in line, right behind Marcus Ericsson. This is the race that doesn't want to end.
Well, none of these 300,000 fans want to go home. They want to see how this plays out, just like I do.
Want to see him race to the finish. This is what went down. Lundgaard into Carpenter.
Just crazy 3-wide action, jockeying for position, coming to the end of this race, getting together on the straightaway. Lots of people involved.
Andretti, Rahal, Peterson. 5 cars involved in that, coming to the restart green with Marcus Ericsson, the defending champ, in front at the red.
At least from the infield care center, you feel like you maybe got squeezed a little bit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, very accurate. I just think I was a little too nice there. I just feel so bummed for the team. We had 4 very fast race cars. Now there's only 2 in the race, and well, there were 7 laps to go. I was going to be going for it. I was way too nice. So I'm sure that he comes with me next time.
Was that a move that in that moment you felt like was one you had to make to keep tabs on Newgarden, the leader?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I was way too nice. I got onto the apron to give him room. I got squeezed, and yeah, I won't forget that one.
Thank you, Pato. Not the end to the day that they wanted with a really fast Arrow McLaren car.
Ooh, I think I'll remember those words next time he comes with me. So, is there a budding rivalry there between Pato O'Ward and Marcus Ericsson? Stand by, you'll see the next chapter of that in Detroit on the new street circuit in downtown Detroit in the Motor City next weekend, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on NBC. That's Marcus Ericsson's wife, Iris. Maximum stress. Now let's show you a replay of the last restart and check out who is in front. This is why race control has said Marcus Ericsson is in front. The time of the yellow coming out.
Looking for the yellow light and the yellow flag. Still see green flag in the air. There's the yellow light there.
The yellow's on the wall.
On the pit wall. Thanks, James. And you can see Ericsson narrowly ahead. Look at how tight it was between Ferrucci and Newgarden.
So Newgarden looks to be ahead.
Second. Newgarden second, so
Ferrucci P3. So that's back to how they started this restart, I'm pretty sure.
Correct.
That top three will remain.
No, Newgarden
Joseph was in front. Yeah,
but
sorry,
Ferrucci third.
Right, correct.
Yeah, so that's why they have them lined up this way here with the Shell Chevy in second. So Marcus Ericsson, Joseph Newgarden.
So I assume
we think the way this is going to play out is that these cars are going to fire up. They will come off pit lane, go down the back straightaway, and take the green for one lap.
Okay, there's a lot of issues with this. I don't love not giving them a full pace lap to make sure tires are clean, all the rest of it. Whatever, that decision's been made. Not to be the cynic, not to be the crafty one here, but it's the Indy 500. If I'm Marcus Ericsson, I watch Pato O'Ward go too slow on a restart, get it waved off, and come around one more time under yellow. It's going to be a white flag. Do you purposely go slow, get your one sort of mulligan of a restart, and come around to take the checkered under yellow?
Or do you just jump it and get going? And if they wave it off, you win either way. Guess what? They're not waving any, it's just green no matter what.
Yes.
So everybody get ready. Forget warming your tires. Forget any of the niceties that you might have enjoyed through the years in IndyCar. Forget what you think you deserve. This race owes you nothing. If you want to win the Indy 500, it's time to tighten your belts and get up and go.
Do what has to be done.
Exactly.
That's what I don't love about this, is it's created a situation where that is a possibility.
Oh, by the way, just to throw another little curveball in there, race control is still looking at the order. It's being audited.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
further back.
We
know
three.
what's at the front.
Exactly.
But further back, it's being audited.
There's still, what are we looking at? 17 cars on the lead lap.
Hey, let's not forget another thing. It's about 110 degrees in the cockpit for these guys as they sit there and just bake and sweat. You know what it's like when it's hot and stuffy? You get angry. You get frustrated. You get urgent.
Let's not forget about the fact that there is, separate to the prize money, there is an extra $400,000 thanks to Borg Warner. 420 to be precise, for the next back-to-back winner. It has been a sum of money that has been jackpotting and rolling over year after year ever since Elio Castro Neves did it last in 2002. So it could be going to this guy and the Chip Ganassi racing team and the Husky squad from car number 8 if Marcus Ericsson can successfully defend his win of a year ago.
About 3.5 hours ago, we talked about the very gentlemanly-like behavior of taking turns leading this race, saving fuel. Contrast that with what we've seen over the last 10 laps and the last hour. It is absolutely dog-eat-dog, every man for themselves. And there are, Pato O'Ward just said he was too nice. Yeah, nobody's going to be nice here with 2 laps to go.
This is so fascinating, guys. The pressure that these drivers are under with a one-lap shootout. They've had 3 red flags now. When you're sitting in the cockpit with nothing but your own thoughts, knowing that the weight of the biggest race in the world is...
His 19th win at the Indianapolis 500.
Could be, Diff, and he asked a moment ago, how are we going to get this done? Brad Goldberg said the challenges are all different today, but I want you to keep one thing in mind. If anyone goes by you into turn 1, you can get past...
Work the tires. The green is going to fly. It's going to be the last lap, and it's going to be the craziest run to the yard of bricks and to determine who wins.
I don't think the flagman has ever thrown a green and white simultaneously.
No. That's Iris, Marcus Ericsson's wife, under the most intense pressure. Look at Joseph Newgarden, second car in shot. They are coming to the green, and it's going to be a 2.5-mile sprint. Does Santino Ferrucci have something for AJ Foyt? McLaren's Alexander Rossi, Chip Ganassi Racing's Alex Palou, Scott Dixon. Who has got the magic here at the Brickyard? What about the fans? 300,000 plus in the stands today have seen it all. Green flag flies at the speedway. Palou is on the inside of Rossi, but Ericsson has bolted. Ericsson sprints away from Joseph Newgarden and is doing what he did a year ago.
The second year in a row we see him unleashing the dragon as we see almost contact between Palou and Ferrucci. Ericsson leads out a 1.
Ferrucci threw a shoulder at Alex Palou and said, "Don't you dare." Ferrucci trying to get a draft off Newgarden and Ericsson, but Newgarden with a monster run off turn 2.
Joseph Newgarden has never won the Indianapolis 500, and he's ahead on this last lap. Joseph Newgarden, is this the moment when the pain ends?
By one.
The drought, is it over for Joseph Newgarden, or does Marcus Ericsson have something?
By 2.
Team Penske at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Joseph Newgarden finally wins the Indianapolis 500. It's the captain's 19th win, Newgarden's first. Finally, Newgarden is an Indy 500 champ. Wife Ashley's got to go to victory lane and watch her husband drink the milk. And it's Roger Penske's first victory as the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He came here as a boy with his father. It's a dream to own this place and to guide this team like Tim Cindric does. Notch another one up for the captain and the first for a 2-time series champion.
Joseph Newgarden and the Tasty Twos, they were patient all day long. They followed exactly the plan that they laid out for the day. Methodical, stepping stones to the front. And when it finally really mattered after all those restarts, this guy right here grabbed the brass ring and took it home.
Oh, not going up the fence, he's going through the fence. Joseph Newgarden into the crowd. Look at this.
He might never make it back.
This is awesome. This has been a burning pain and a burning desire for Joseph Newgarden. It has annoyed him and bothered him so long that he has not won the Indy 500. All of that is erased. It's just joy and fun now and celebration.
Let's just enjoy it here.
Thank you so much.
You did it, man. And Cindric over there to greet his driver. As you mentioned, this is the race he's dreamed and dreamed and dreamed about winning. And what a champion he will be. There's a lot of showing on the scene. Saluting you, the fans, right now. Yeah, he wanted to celebrate with you.
emotion. Husband and wife, their little son Coda is here. Teammate Scott McLaughlin came in, team boss, team president, Tim Cindric. And Ashley saying, are you okay? I'm just checking you're okay.
Oh, he's okay.
It's never been more okay.
This right here is going to be the best ride of Joseph Newgarden's life. Over to the podium, onto the lift, up to drink the milk. How about that finish? This is the checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Marcus Ericsson on the right, Newgarden on the left, down the back stretch into turn 3. That was the move of the race. Ericsson gave everything he had, but in the end it wasn't enough for the Shell Chevy of Joseph Newgarden. This is a tight-knit crew. Luke Mason, the engineer, Ashley Newgarden there. That's how much it means to win. And there is the captain, Roger Penske himself, Bud Denker, Greg Penske, the whole gang. Doing it for the fans.
So Spider-Man climbs the fence. What are we going to call this?
He's a man of the people.
I don't know, man, just absolutely incredible. Tim Cindric picks up his 9th baby board as the president of racing operations for Team Penske. And when he won his first one, that was Elio's back, I think, in 2001. Roger told him, hey, look, that one's good, but I want 20 of these things. Well, he's got him up to 19. One to go.
We always talk about how the best laid plans in Indy can be derailed, but this is an example today where the best laid plan was executed by the best racing team in the history of this racetrack, Team Penske. To get that 19th win, they hit their marks all the way through the 500 miles.
Like I said a moment ago, Marty, this is the best ride that Joseph Newgarden has ever had. He has had to wait so long for this. It's his 12th Indianapolis 500. That's the one where he is the winner.
And oddly enough, Lee, his teammate Will Power also got it done in try number 12 at Indianapolis. He's going to come up here. He'll get the symbols of victory here at Indy, the winner's wreath, of course. The milk, Joseph Newgarden picked whole milk, by the way. And the winner's ring will be presented by Jostens. The captain already up here in victory lane. This is hollowed ground, and Joseph Newgarden is finally here. Look at Roger Penske, the first one there at the car to lean in.
We'll have the team line up in the back.
Joseph collecting himself. You see Tim Cindric leaning in. He's crying. The emotion of this race and what it means to the drivers and the teams, but Team Penske knows it better than anyone. Joseph Newgarden climbs out an Indy 500 winner, everyone. There's the winner's wreath. One arm through, they're telling him. And now, the whole milk Joseph Newgarden's waited his whole life for. Princess has come in as well. And now the Indy 500 championship ring for Joseph Newgarden. Drenched in milk, let's get a word with him. That's a big ring there, Joseph Newgarden. For years, they've asked you